Hello and welcome everyone to Venetian Poker Live. We are coming at you with a final table today. It's the $1,600 buy-in UltimateStack, and the stack is placed in stacked today because this final table has all the ingredients to be rather epic as we look at Patrick Leonard, the man who goes by Pads. My name is Remco Rinkema. We've got Donnie Peters in the house and our expert commentator, poker analyst, and WSB bracelet winner Tristan Wade in the house as well. Donnie, I'll start with you. We were sweating the updates last night. We were looking to see who would make this final table. This could not have played out much better.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are some of the heavy hitters around the Las Vegas poker scene. Of course, Patrick Leonard is one of the absolute greatest tournament players of our time, greatest tournament minds of our time. So we got a front row seat to an absolute legend. Ostapchenko, just coming off a WSB bracelet win like 3 days ago. I mean, what's up with this guy? He's hot as heck.
And to add to that, Ilani finished runner-up in a 3K WSB event for $550K only about 3 weeks ago. So we're dealing with some hot runs and perhaps some summer savers, Tristan.
Yeah, the summer's not over, everybody. You guys thought the summer was over because the WSOP ended. Well, the Venetian still has the summer going with this final table, and there's an 1100 day 1B today, day 1C tomorrow. So there's still money to be won out here in Vegas. And we see these players playing for a lot of money up top here today.
Yeah, tough final table here. Blinds at 75K, 150K. You can see it at the top of your screen here. The structure, as Pat's put it, is quite fast, we're quite deep into the structure, so would not be surprised to see some quick all-ins, but there is a lot of money to be played for as the final 7 are guaranteed $27,000 all the way up to $164,000. Casual 100 buy-in score here to close the summer out potentially for Pads. Donnie, I know you're the biggest Pads fan that I know. Does he need it today?
I'm not so sure he needs it. I mean, he's had some success over the summer. He had some fantasy success over the summer. So I don't think Pads necessarily needs it. Also, I think Bitcoin's booming. Pads is in those crypto streets too. So I think the guy's good. But I know. You told me I'm a big Pads fan. I am. Huge. He loves the trophies. He goes for the trophies. He wants the wins.
He's a legend. Look, he's a legend. He had a great World Series, if you ask me. I think he had 15 cashes or something ridiculous. Obviously, he's playing a ton of poker, but he's just one of those guys, whenever he shows up at a poker table, you got to beware, and he's just deep in everything. So it's no surprise to see him here. He's 2 of 2 at the Venetian for making the final table, and we saw him get aces cracked, I think, last time he was here.
Yep.
So he's obviously the one to watch out for, but he's got his work cut out for him.
Absolutely. So if you're just tuning in, stacked final table at Venetian Poker Live today. We're going to be here until a winner has been found. Trophy, of course, also on the line here as we look at Derek Gregory, both poker player, actor, and realtor.
We talked last night.
Ready to invest the winnings today into some real estate. It's never a bad idea. Gregory, by the way, $1.2 million in earnings. His largest cash just shy of $200K, which to me is the sign of a grinder, someone who has put in the work. A long list of results over the course of a little over a decade. So Gregory definitely a force here as well as we zoom in a little bit on these chips to give you the denominations. The brown ones are 25K, the oranges are 100K, and I think we're going to get another color introduced in perhaps the next level or so. Real quick, back to what you said, Tristan, day 1B of the 1100 Ultimate Stack going on today. That event also streamed live on Venetian Poker Live and PokerGo on Tuesday, July 22nd. We'll be in the booth again. Hopefully, Tristan can maybe make a final table every now and then. This will be a good one to try and take a stab at.
Yes, I would like to make a final table. I'd like to be at the table instead of be in the booth, but it's a good consolation prize.
Yeah, these commentary gigs don't end up on your Hendon.
They don't. My Hendon would start growing if that was the case.
Yeah, we would have had some results this summer.
Ooh, burn.
Oh,
Did you catch
I
that stray?
I had to get that. I had to get that in. I had to get that in. All right, chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you are still enjoying poker after what's been a stacked summer of action. I know that only the hardcores are really tuned in right now. We love you all. As we see Gregory make it 325 with Queen 8 off, and Ostapchenko just comes with the 1.4 million. Let's go.
This is just first in chips versus second in chips when we have all these short stacks at the table. That's just what we're seeing here.
Nasty stuff here from Ostapchenko, as Donnie mentioned. Very recent bracelet winner in the 5K 8 max.
He had a good summer too. I think he final tabled the 25K along the way. I mean, he had some big results. His team, I think, also did well in fantasy. So everything coming up Ostapchenko.
Tristan, is it a fact that when you have a big summer like this, obviously you're carrying confidence. Some people like using the word momentum, but also you also have a bit of FU going around inside you because you got the scores. You're probably bankroll's looking fresh. You can take a bit more risk.
Yeah, absolutely. There is something to that. Momentum, perhaps, financial freedom, just freedom in general. So yeah, I absolutely think there's something to that. But let the chips lie where they may here. We have clear first chip leader, Ostapchenko, versus Gregory. So there's just going to be some violence there regardless.
Yeah, Ostapchenko recording the 2 largest scores of his career in a matter of 3 weeks during the WSOP this year. 1.3 million for third place in the 25K, and then as I mentioned, a bracelet win. Prior to that, his largest score was a 280,000. So he absolutely took off this summer.
We did just see Halverson fold 8-9 suited. I think that maybe, I was curious what he was going to do. That could have maybe been bottom of his range, just given his stack depth and his position. So that's something that I'm kind of curious about because I'm not sure, if that was the right play given his stack. But
he also has, he kind of weirdly has fold equity against the 2 people in the blinds because they're not the deepest, right? So, like, it'd be basically a third of Ilani's stack to call off. Is he's not going to just, wing it in there with nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, you probably want a high card in your hand there, but I think if there's any suited connectors, they start with 8-9 suited from that position.
Ilani is a pretty aggressive player in his own right. If he gets some chips here at this final table, you could see some fireworks out of him as well. I believe he did some torturing of our colleague Tim Duckworth in the WSB main event quite a bit.
I have played with him before, and Cervantes. I've played with all these guys, actually. And earlier, Remco mentioned how second in chips Derek Gregory was a grinder. He actually says Michael Mizrachi, the grinder, taught him how to play PLO at Commerce.
Wow.
In his bio. And I actually met him through Grindr about 15 years ago when I was working with Grindr in a past poker tour, the DeepStack's poker tour.
What a turn card here.
So Cervantes hits a straight in the turn. Hitting the gut shot, always a bit more disguised. Cervantes bet 175K on the flop and got called, and now slows down.
This is a spot where Ilani should just want to be very, very passive.
3 of hearts completes the board on the river. Check mark here for Cervantes.
And if you're Cervantes, you want to bet because you have the second nuts, but it's a spot where it's going to be really hard to get action.
Kind of weird seeing yourself on a stream at the same time.
Even a 2 big blind. This is a sub 2 big blind bet here.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if a 10 can comfortably call here given the scenario of the final table currently. I mean, we do have a bluff catcher, but it's just hard maybe to find bluffs given this line.
Ilani is giving it some thought here on the river. That turn check might tempt him here. Perhaps finding some missed draws. 275 into 800,000, so a very small bet here from Cervantes.
Definitely doesn't want to fold. All right, there we go.
Does decide to let it go. And I got to give some love here to Andrew DeFeo in the chat, saying thanks, Donnie and Tim, for the daily coverage of the WSOP. Enjoy some pizza on me with the $200 donation.
Wow.
That is the biggest donation of the entire summer. So much love to you, Andrew.
Black coffee, please.
That is incredible.
Yeah, Andrew and I made day 2 of a tournament right before the WSOP started. Got to chatting there. He hung out during the summer, played a bunch of events at the WSOP. Comes out, big fan of the game. Hasn't been playing long, but has really taken a liking to it, likes to study and get in there and try and improve. So let's go, Andrew.
$200 is a lot of pizza.
Yeah, that's like 8 pizzas.
That's pizza for the rest of the year if you just order one a month.
Hey, better get going, Donnie. Tristan and I will happily partake in that. Once again, Andrew, thank you so much. That is very much appreciated. Again, welcome to the show, to those just tuning in. Andrew also in the chat on Venetian mentioning, does Liu have to even play day 1 or 2, or does he just get a stack at the final table? He runs deep in almost everything he plays.
That is true. See his name everywhere around town. See it online, too. Here in Nevada. I mean, he's just always grinding.
As far as pizza chat, people in the chat, let us know. What's the go-to spot you go to? What's the go-to order? I haven't had pizza in so long. I think I'm well overdue. What about you, Donnie?
I also have not had pizza in a long time. Pre-summer, I had some pre-summer. I did come home one day during the summer, and there was a Marco's pizza box, and I wanted to throw my wife outside.
Ostapchenko here comes with 325. Leonard in the big blind with 7-6 offsuit. Tristan, is Leonard in a bit of a tough situation because of the presence of the surrounding shorter stacks?
I think that is the overall idea behind ICM, and not just ICM, but when you have stack distribution as vast as it is, then yeah, you just don't want to play any hands because you just make a lot more money from folding. I also think Pads is aware of the situation, and he understands Andrew's probably just going to be raising such a wide range there. That's why we see him consider 6-7 offsuit and the playability for him to maybe consider seeing a flop. And then a pair here with hardly any big blinds. Maybe he's going to keep some money back, but he just puts it in. And I like it. I don't think you can do anything else but shove there.
Big blind's going to hit you next, so it's hard to make a pair. And
Yeah.
you have one.
And Ilani here, even with a hand like this, like, how can this ever put money in? Just because you're never going to be in great shape. If that was folded around to the big blind, I'm sure we'd see the big blind call. But it's about a 4.5 big blind shove. I guess it's, yeah, almost 5 big blinds. 50 short of 5 big blinds. And Leonard probably likes
7.
having all these short stacks.
I mean, the oranges are at the back.
Can you do me a favor when you're done? Yeah.
Roughly 7.
7. Thank you very much.
So Leonard just getting confirmation on the stack depth of the player in the big blind. Is 10-7 playable here?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Pads just likes to go through all his options. Again, I think he likes the presence of short stacks.
Wow.
And Halverson with a monster pickup. Picks up 375,000 chips under the gun. Now,
And a third of that is about to go back into the pot, right? But that's what you need to do. When you're the short stack, it's all about survival. Just pick your spots, hang in there, and then wait for that favorable spot to double.
What's up?
Nothing much. I would be sitting next to you if I can do magic, right?
You never know.
Let's just.
You never know.
Ostapchenko on 10 million chips.
Oh yeah. Matt, why showing a break on the clock? Can you check, please?
Such a comfortable lead for the man with a crusher of a summer.
Great.
It's going to be really hard to beat him today. The more he's just able to just apply nonstop pressure, it's just going to be very hard. Ostapchenko's a very, very good player.
Yeah, he's tough. I played with him, I think, in a 5K last summer. 5K no limit. He's just, yeah, he's very sound. He's very active. He's kind of naggy, like a mosquito. He's just constantly around and just there. And, I mean, again, given the layout of this final table, he's going to have free will to do whatever he wants to do.
Shout out, by the way, to the people in the chat. I see you, Rob Backus, Jason Sambricki, one of our mods, hanging out here as the action gets to Halverson with ace-8 offsuit in the big blind. So he's got 300K already in there.
Look, and this is a spot he knows the chip leader is going to be opening so wide. Being the shortest stack, this might be a good spot to just put your money in. I don't know if Theory would agree with this, but I think maybe this starts to be pretty good with this exact hand. Now notice the raise size from Andrew. It is almost a full 3x, so maybe that's given Mitchell some problems here. But he's very studied. You know, let's not forget, even the short stacks are very accomplished poker players. Mitchell someone help me out.
Halverson.
Halverson, he does put it in, excuse me.
I'm okay with you not being able to do the foreign names, but this one is so easy. Jokes aside here, Halverson all in for 925. Ostapchenko with the snap call, and we got ourselves a coin flip situation with our short stack being the slight favorite.
There was a 6 of clubs before, I wasn't sure.
I really think this is a great find by Mitchell, honestly. It might be.
Blind versus blind. I had to defend and leave myself with nothing. I feel like I gotta go.
Good luck, guys. He nails it there. It might be the edge of Theory.
All right, so Halverson at risk here. And a jack and a king on the flop. Halverson almost drawing dead here right away.
Oh, ace is going.
He's got 2 million in earnings.
That's dirty.
He'd be a tough seat to contest with, but the queen on the turn at least keeps him alive. Now a 10 and a 10 only will give him Broadway, and with that the double up. So let's see if he can find it. He does not. Catches an ace, but Mitchell Halverson will be our 7th place finisher, collecting $27,346. And the rich get richer as Ostapchenko rakes in the chips as we are down to 6. Look at the prize pool here. More than $1 million in the prize pool on this 750K guaranteed tournament. 164,000 up top, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that our remaining players only really care about the top 2 spots, and I wonder if it's going to influence the play. We got some regulars, some experienced players with a list of results battling here, and I'm curious to see how it's going to influence the action.
blinds now have gone up 100, 200. Still have half of the final table hovering around 10 bigs, let's say, between 13 and 7.5.
Yes.
Yeah, with those blinds now up,
Yes.
that pressure increasing on Liu, Cervantes, and Ilani. And here we go. Gregory with the button raise. Liu, no hesitation, moves all in. And he's got queen 5 off.
God.
I told you he is a blaster.
Oh my God, this is...
You can never, like, if you get like almost any hand playing against him, you can never fold. I'm telling you. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But it does allow him to make big runs like this. He's able to amass big stacks early and just really drive pressure.
I love how there was no hesitation. He looked at the cards and he was like, yep, that's it. This is what I wanted.
This is spicy, given that the absence of a small blind matters somewhat. But this is just spicy. You're only shoving in 12 big blinds here against second and chips with queen 5 off, and it works.
Wow. Viva Las Vegas in the chat says, Liu the Maniac. He fires unlimited bullets. Very nice guy. I mean, this guy has no fear. I love it. I literally just finished saying these guys are playing for top 2. Well, Liu clearly did not come here to fold.
And that's just great situational awareness, honestly. He just recognizes that the second biggest stack is going to be raising there at will. But queen 5 offsuit, wow, what a find. And Ilani here with a decision.
Ilani and Cervantes are 2 short stacks.
Only.
And he's going to jam. Ace queen for Leonard.
1.95.
We're going to see some action. Given how early positioned this is,
1.85.
does that impact Leonard's decision here? Call, shove? I don't see him ever folding this.
Yeah, I don't think fold's really on the table with the chip leader and the big blind, and Leonard only having, what, 26, almost 27 big blinds. I don't know if he has any other option but to jam.
4 million.
And look at that. He makes it 4 million,
4 million.
signaling to the other players that he is going nowhere.
By 4 million.
Liu on the Jack 5 can only laugh.
Things are good.
Seems as though he
Very good.
wanted to get involved no matter what, but it's going to be a heads-up showdown here. Ilani versus Leonard. Ilani's tournament life on the line, and this is a very juicy pot here. 4.2 million in the middle. If Ilani wins this,
1875.
Leonard is going to be
No.
second shortest.
Wow, the
Don't count it.
prepay.
I'm gonna use the
I
stand
think
up
it's
if
5.
you do that.
It's 5. You want to be exact. 0.5.
Ilani's going to stand up and find a backpack,
Look.
maybe.
I need
Give
to use
himself some
anti, but
additional
I'll
run
stand
good.
up if I miss the flop.
All right, here comes the flop. Ilani needing some help. And it comes King, King 10. And he finds some help. Leonard now with 9 outs.
Ace is good now.
Subtract the Jack of Spades. And he's got 8 outs twice.
Look at that, kings. Kings and tens.
Prepay now officially in effect. Turn card. The 7 of clubs. Ilani 1 card away from a huge double up. River card. Can Leonard find it? He does! Wow! Patrick Leonard
Thank you, sir.
gives the showdown some additional flair by coming back from behind. And we lose Ron Ilani in 6th place, collecting $35,603. And Leonard, quietly but with a smile, rakes in the chips to make this tournament even more interesting, because the Ostapchenko Leonard heads up could make for some epic play, as Leonard is now a real contender, and we are already down to 5. This thing is moving along just fine.
I really thought we were going to see another bad beat for Leonard there. We saw his aces go down the last time he was in this room. And there I thought, uh-oh, here we go.
And Leonard now on 7.7 million, eclipsing Gregory's stack. So we might be in for some interesting blind battles here between these two.
I think the most interesting strategy we could see from Leonard is playing in position against a chip leader, but I don't know how regularly that will actually be an option for him.
Seven, seven.
7-7.
I guess the blinds.
But kudos for Gregory for keeping up the aggression. Coming in his second biggest stack, hasn't really let these short stacks breathe.
Here, 10.
It's 9, 10, 10 and change, 10, 7. Jesus.
If you're enjoying the coverage here, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're live on PokerGo and on Venetian Poker Live as we see Ostapchenko make it 500K.
Notice the 2.5x open here. This is really where the small blind just squeezed in, and they don't really matter here. This is more of a targeting against the second stack, Patrick Leonard here, who has a playable hand. And remember, ICM play is all about being passive, passivity. So in a normal world, for Chippy V, this is a spot where Patrick Leonard would mostly always check call this. And it is a small size, so he might still have ideas with fours with the 4 of heart. But given that Cervantes only has 5 big blinds, let's see what he does.
Call is the rule, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
7 of clubs on the turn.
And I don't think we ever see the chip leader slow down, to be honest here. But he does. What the hell do I know?
Oh, 4 on the river.
Bing.
That is the type of card that gives Leonard all the confidence. Now, can we check to induce? Can we lead for value? How do we see Ostapchenko's range? Is he going to be having 8s, 9s, 10s that he checks back on the turn that we can get value from? Are there other hands out there?
You're probably right, Remco, but that's a very small hand class, right? There's like 18 to 24 combos in that realm, which those could have even bet small twice, like if you had queens or jacks, I would say. So if we're really thinking of, and we see Patrick just bet the minimum, and this may be the bet that gets him paid by ace queen, but he's trying to induce here, I would imagine.
That's sad.
Set announced by Leonard.
Whoa.
He rakes in another big one. 8.8 million, drawing that much closer to Ostapchenko. And Liu so far is having the best time at the final table. I love it.
Again, those are the hands that are like most interesting to me, right? We saw a 1.5 big blind C bet on the flop, and we see a 1 big blind bet on the river. I would do some research on that hand if I was at home right now, because I would really be curious how ace queen suited wants to continue building its range on the turn there. King 6 deuce really drive a flop. 7 on the turn brings 2 clubs and 2 hearts. Not saying either player did anything wrong there, but I'm really interested how that really continues past the flop there.
Leonard just limping in here. Gregory with a very similar hand here in the big blind. Lots of Pads fans in the chat. Let's hear it in the chat for Pads. I know that a lot of you are in the Telegram chat, following along on Instagram. Pads, one of the best ones at documenting what the journey of a poker player is like, and to further emphasize his passion for the game, on the bio sheet before this final table, under hobbies, he wrote just poker. That's all he does. Lives it, breathes it, plays it.
I mean, you nailed it, though. He is my favorite content creator in the poker space because he does it pretty freely, and it's not forced, and it's not manufactured. You know, it's not, I'm going to go film for days and send it to an editor. It's just, here are my raw, unfiltered thoughts. Here's me walking through my process. Here's me giving some nuggets out to the people. So I really respect him for what he brings, the value he brings to the game, basically.
I mean, he's lying about his hobbies, though.
Yeah, he's got a lot of hobbies.
He goes on pretty much every time he goes to a new city, he calls it a coffee tour. New coffee shop every single day, loves coffee. He's big into shopping, especially when he has some poker winnings. He loves to go to, like, you know.
New hoodie.
Yeah. You know, he loves his hoodies. He walks about 15 to 20,000 steps a day.
I love how you're just like,
I'm basically a stalker at this point.
I know your wife loves to watch reality TV. This is your reality TV.
Poker is my reality TV.
Right.
Yes. And Pads is a main character. he's
main
the situation.
Yeah.
I'm with you, though, Donnie. Like, he's a refreshing, like, the breath of fresh air in the poker space because, you know, we're all hardcore here. We have been in this industry for a very long time. We love the game. We love to play it. And Pads embodies that in everything he does. And then he shares that with the world. So, yeah, I'm with you right there, Mr. Peters.
Yeah, keep laughing. You know we got history. We're going to get in there real soon. You already know that. Yeah, it's coming. You know that. You or me, one of the two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming. You know.
I'm gonna.
Tyler P. Pads is a Patrick Leonard.
Real soon.
That's who he is, Patrick Leonard. Goes by the online name of Pads, one of the most prolific online poker players of all time.
Hey.
Over there? Hey, yeah. Sorry.
As we see the players connect on a fist bump there.
I think he also owns a soccer team, does Pads.
Part owner, right?
But, like, he bought him, like,
When they were like the fifth league.
might have even been, like, seriously, like, in England, like, the beer league. Like, he bought them, and, like, they've, like, moved up a few spots. But,
Look, we got Patrick Leonard's mom in the chat. I'm Team Pads. I'm his mom.
there
That's
you go.
amazing. I love
Well,
that.
if he wins a trophy, like, it always goes back to his parents' house. Sends him back there.
Shout out Ann Leonard in the chat. If you're with us today, let yourself be heard in the chat. We'd love to engage, give you a shout out. And Leonard right back to it. Makes it 400K with King Jack off. Gregory facing that aggression from Pads, which is not going to slow down one bit, but he also knows that Cervantes will probably be all in soon on 5 bigs. He's going to be in the big blind on the very next hand. So getting one more pay jump definitely has a bit of value. But Ostapchenko, with a very powerful ace-jack suited, is going to make the call.
Very disciplined fold there by Gregory. And Pads now in a world of hurt after this flop.
Or perhaps saved by the fact that he doesn't connect that well, even though now here on the turn, picks up the diamond draw.
And notice the check back, right? That's a board where a lot of players are just going to c-bet range, but he's aware of the situation. We're 2 versus 1. We're neck and neck. This guy's 5 bigs. And I'm going to have some checkbacks that include my best king highs here.
I mean, look at Pads going for the check back twice. And now Ostapchenko surely going to lead.
I do agree with that, Remco. I don't see how else you plan to build a value range here. You're not check raising the river, and we do see full pot, I think a hinge over it.
What sort of hand does Pads need here to call?
I'd say he has some weak aces to check twice. Maybe if he has like some ace-3 of spades type holding, he's just going to get to the river and have to have something that bluff catches here. And even this hand could consider, but the other holdings I would imagine come from probably pocket kings, pocket queens, and pocket jacks. Or, you know, in that realm. Those hands are effectively the same kind of EV when you get to this river. Your opponent can bet an ace for value. They can bet a 4 here for value.
1.2.
And maybe king high.
Yeah, and by going big, is Ostapchenko going to get paid off here?
Look at the glance.
Oh. Chips go back into the stack. And disciplined fold here. No hero, or no need to be a hero with king high here.
Worthy of a thought, though, given the chip leader's probably still going to be defending his big blind. Some kind of normal range there, although I would argue people probably aren't going to be that out of line in that spot, honestly. If I ever make a final table, I could find out for myself. But
maybe the approach is to be more out of line to make it to the final table.
I'm trying.
If you're just joining us, my name is Remco Rinkema. Donnie Peters and Tristan Wade alongside me in the booth. Donnie doing his best to become the poker expert in the booth, judging by his deep main event run.
Yeah, shout out to Donnie. Let's give
Thanks,
Donnie
man.
a little clap
Yeah,
up
exactly.
for his I mean, what a World Series. Not only wow,
Oh.
whoa.
I mean, these guys just find these one and just gets. I mean, what? I don't understand. I can't even begin to think about this.
All
I
right,
think
so
this is Liu's image paying off for him here. Dividends, actually.
But even still, even if you're ahead against the range, you still only have Jack 7 offsuit. Cervantes moves only for 800,000, and Liu makes the call with Ace 9, and we got an all-in showdown here. All right, let's see the flop. And it comes 7 deuce 3, and Cervantes pairs his 7. Liu now needing an ace or a 9 to reduce this field to its final 4. Turn card. The ace of clubs. And now role reversal. Cervantes with 14 outs. A few have been folded, so.
You got the flop.
Oh, backpack comes on.
Gotta put the backpack on.
Yeah,
All right, now it might come in. Halfway out the door. Can he sit back down? Big river card incoming.
I mean, if I'm asking for a club.
Whenever they put the
Oh,
backpack
there it
on,
is.
Every time they put the backpack on, it always happens. Infamous backpack.
Just shrugs.
The backpack trick works.
Every time.
Club comes in, and Cervantes
Not my first rodeo.
with more than a double up.
And the idea there for him is, look, maybe I'm
Imagine
just
being
this
behind
short.
the turn and not putting your backpack on. That couldn't be me.
I'm that short. I got 4 big blinds left. I'm just going to gamble and put it in here against someone who could have a wide range.
Right.
And that might just be it.
All right, let's look at Cervantes' player bio from San Francisco, California, software engineer. And his poker rivals, Patrick Leonard, well, they're sitting side by side, so this might come to a head here at the final table of this $1,600 buy-in Ultimate Stack with $164,000 up top for the winner. We're on hand 16. You've missed 2 eliminations if you're just joining us. But there's a lot of action left here in this event.
A lot of action. I mean, this, obviously we got 2 10 big blind stacks, but everyone else, these stacks are very deep. We could see short-handed play last a very long time.
Button raise here from Ostapchenko, the beautiful looking Jack 10 suited. And Cervantes counting him down.
1.9.
Oh, here we go. Moves all in for 1.9.
Well, if you're going with the Jack 7 off, you're going with the King 8 suited.
Hello. Leonard with ace queen of hearts
1.9.
in the big blind.
Got to put the 25 in.
Okay, now I was going to say this is a spot where you probably don't see pads move all in that much.
Yeah.
All right, pads makes the call. And 62-37 in Patrick Leonard's favor.
Queen? 60-40.
But Cervantes with a real chance here for back-to-back double-ups. Not the worst hand to have to go up against ace queen of hearts.
60-40.
Here comes the flop. Oh, 8 in the window and an ace right behind it. Well, better get the backpack. What is he doing?
He's going to wait till the river.
5 of clubs on the turn. Definitely need the back.
go.
Oh, yeah, here comes the backpack.
Don't do that.
It's done deal.
Don't do that.
Grabs the backpack, 5 outs. River is the ace of diamonds, and the trick only works once. Michael Cervantes eliminated in 5th place, collecting $47,000 for his efforts. And Patrick Leonard, unstoppable so far here at this final table. Cervantes adds that 47K to his 128,000 in career tournament earnings. Very nice run for him as we look at the remaining payouts. Remaining players guaranteed $62,000. And by the way, this also the largest career score for Michael Cervantes. So tip our cap to him.
Like 11?
And now we have a very fun four-handed battle on our hands with Liu as the crazy wild card. Gregory so far has been very much subdued, also in a bit of a tough spot position-wise given the way the final table has played out. And then, you know, Ostapchenko and Leonard, we can probably call them super crushers, know what to do in every situation. So this could go in many different ways.
I can't wait. Pads with the chip lead now. Let's see if he starts. Oh, here we go.
9-7 suited. That's a really nice hand.
Spicy. And shout out to Michael Cervantes there, because I think some people would look at that hand and be like, what is he doing? King 8 suited. I actually think in a non-final table format, that's a pretty good spot. And even given the final table there and just the optics of it, I think it's a lot better than it looks.
Right.
If Patrick doesn't wake up with a hand there, he's running it against Jack 10 suited. I'm not trying to be results oriented, but I think King 8 suited could kind of be the best hand there quite regularly against a chip leader's button open, and he gets a lot of fold. So even though that looked a little spicy, shout out to Michael for finding it, because I think there's something to that actually.
Action folds to Gregory in the small blind with pocket sevens.
And I love this limb.
Oh, he knows his customer. Gonna see a flop here. The quick check back from Liu. Queen 9-9 rolls off. Liu, backdoor draws available to him. Shout out to the chat, by the way. Let's go Milkman. It's coming in hot. Everyone is now the Milkman all of a sudden. Badziakuski is the Milkman. Greg Merson is the Milkman.
The only Milkman is Greg Merson.
But like, okay, you cannot give yourself a nickname. That's out of line.
I don't exactly think he gave himself the nickname.
Okay, well, fair. That's fair.
He just started streaming
with
cards. drinking milk every day.
Right.
People started calling him the milkman.
I did find it funny he committed to the bit so much that he brought a giant bottle of almond milk to the table. And then at the feature table, for those that watch the broadcast, he asked the waiter if they had goat milk.
Have you ever had goat milk?
They made him
I have.
take.
It's pretty
They
good. I
made
have
him
it.
take the bottle of milk off the table because it was too obstructive to people trying to like view his chip stack and
Oh
stuff.
my God.
Like, it was that big.
That's funny.
Ooh, we do see a bet on the turn there. I think it was 250K, and I don't think you want to fold any pair to a small bet there, but we do see Gregory have his 7s hit the muck. I'm not a fan of that fold there, as he did fold the best hand.
Yeah, so Liu gets to pick one up here. Cool Drummer in the chat says the King 8 shove is a bold move. It definitely is, but you got to make bold moves if you want to give yourself a chance to win the tournament, especially given his stack size and the fact that he was still the shortest stack, right? If there's someone much shorter than you, you are forced to be more conservative.
My only pushback will be that the other short stack is a bit insane. Like he could easily go broke if you fold a couple hands.
Yeah, that's in theory, that's what he should do. You should just be very passive and not put money in there. And I don't even know what the bottom of his range really looks like there. It maybe starts to be King 10 suited or King Jack suited, I would say. But I do think, like, yeah, I stand behind kind of my initial applause to him about finding King 8 suited, because I do think there's a universe where that could be a little bit next level. But to Donnie's point, when you have another short stack who's just that reckless, yeah, you probably want to outweight them and earn yourself another $23,000 in the process. Or excuse me, the pay jump is 15,000. Which is still 10 buy-ins at this point.
Blind battles are becoming a regular serving of poker action here, as we are four-handed. Ostapchenko limping into Leonard. We could see some connectivity here both ways if the right flop comes out. Comes King 6 deuce. Leonard pairs.
And now the roles are reversed. Ostapchenko has to be a lot more passive. He's out of position. He's not the chip leader anymore. Now this is a board where he's just going to come out and start betting range. It does favor him. He hopes to just win the pot now. But this is never happening once Patrick connects and he's in position.
So Ostapchenko fires 350. Leonard makes the call. 10 comes on the turn. Now, gut shot straight draw for Ostapchenko. Now, because Ostapchenko limps, do we remove all kings from his range right away? Would he raise every king from the small blind?
No, he's just probably going to play a majority limp strategy, I would imagine, at this stage.
800?
Right, notice he's got 50 bigs. He's second. Look at the other stacks. So he's just going to limp his whole range for the most part. Maybe raise some top of range stuff. And naturally, it's a great bluff here for him with 9 high turning equity on a board where he knows pads is probably going to call any deuce or any 6 and have 3-4, 3-5 on the flop. But this is Patrick Leonard, folks. He knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows what Andrew's up to here.
Leonard makes the call a second time. Now, 2.9 million in the middle. Board pairs 10s on the river.
Kind of a bad card for Ostapchenko.
Yeah, notice he had all these things working for him, right? He had a club in his hand. He had 8-9 connectivity around the 10-6. He knows Patrick Leonard's range is going to be a lot more condensed now to King X or 6X. So let's see if he does find a triple barrel here or not. And Leonard has every hand still in the deck as this went limp check pre-flop.
Now, if we consider bluffing here in Ostapchenko's shoes, how do we approach sizing?
I think any size from 40% to 70% is fine.
Quick check here. Leonard gets the showdown, the 6, to take this one down, and this is significant. He now up to 12.3 million, creating a bit of distance here between him and the rest.
There's my dealer. There's my dealer. Come on.
All right, look at the chip counts here. Leonard on top with 62 big blinds. Qing Liu with 14 bigs. Happy to be here, and I cannot wait to see his next crazy move. He's already made a few, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Derek Gregory has found a few nice pay ladders. Has not been involved in too many hands just yet, but he's also still very comfortable on 30 big blinds. So we got a lot of poker left here on Venetian Poker Live. If you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and do talk to us in the chat. We appreciate you guys for hanging out. DK Costa in the chat on Venetian Poker Live saying, my brothers, Remco and DP and Tristan Wade, damn, you boys are working more and more. Yeah, they got to keep us off the streets. They got to lock us in here.
Yeah, Lord knows what we would get into if we were out there. Bad news.
We might need a night out again, I know.
For old time's sake?
For old time's sake.
I'm retired.
On me. Nights on me sometime.
I'm retired.
We'll get pizza, and then we'll see where it takes us.
To bed.
I might think of something for us, boys.
Runbat777 says, the commentator is almost always wrong. Yeah, that's why we're here, not at the table. Just trying to give you analysis. Poker is a game of ranges. It's impossible to get it right all the time, but I appreciate the comment, though. Please like the video.
Gregory's got to be very careful here. I mean, he's in a very weird spot with these chip stacks, so he can't just, kind of go wild here. Even though Queen 9 off kind of looks good, I think I'd make an argument for just folding this and not playing a rather big pot against pads.
100% agree with that. You're right. He's the one who has the most ICM pressure on him at this point. So he probably should just be avoiding playing pots and putting chips in the middle.
And yeah, it looks really tight and it's conservative, but that's kind of just the situation that you're in.
Yeah, especially with Leonard having the chips, Liu being a short stack wild card, and now Leonard already building his range here off a 3x plus size pre-flop, and he's just going to be able to bet range in these kind of spots. And how will Gregory navigate with the 9 of spades and queen high? He is going to put chips in the middle, and it looks like he's putting a lot more chips in the middle than he is because he's using his smaller denomination chips, which are the chocolate 25Ks.
3 of clubs on the turn here. Leonard's king high is out in front, but Gregory, who's been pretty conservative at the table, might induce a check here from Leonard, and he does.
I mean, look, Gregory with ideas here, and so far it's working out. When your opponent checks a turn to you here, let's see what his idea is.
Now, if you're Gregory, this is what you're waiting for, right? You're waiting for the turn check to take initiative here. Can almost never check back here.
I don't know. I don't know, Remco. That's a great question. Your queen high could be good in a wide range blind on blind battle. We see obviously here it is not. But I think Patrick Leonard's more worried that he thinks Gregory's going to have a stronger range than he does here.
Yeah.
Mostly just ace X. And do I really want to try to bluff someone off a pair of aces here, which you shouldn't probably. So this is a pretty good find by Gregory.
And that's also coming into play from Gregory's perspective of what is his perceived range in this case, right? Which is why he can bluff the turn. And he does pick it up. So nice pickup here for Derek Gregory, up to 6.8 million, and Liu down to 2.7, in need of some help.
And that's a spot where if like Patrick Leonard knows he's getting floated there by Queen 9 and his opponent's calling Queen 9 pre, he's just probably going to barrel it to the moon. But obviously you don't know that as you get shorthanded play, how someone's going to adjust or not adjust. So very, very good pickup there from Derek Gregory.
Nice hand for Ostapchenko here to get this hand going here.
400,000.
Comes with a min raise. Suited ace-3.
And I think the motto of this final table is like nobody's going to back down. Like you were talking ICM, we're talking pay jumps, we're talking avoidance. Like that's not happening.
Oh, I mean, this is a loose shove hand if I've ever seen one. We saw him do it with the Queen 5 off earlier. This one does go in the muck. I was half kidding, but I know that Liu was considering it.
Surprised we didn't see a defend, honestly, for one more big.
Yeah, the blinds went up now.
Blinds up again here. Price of poker going up.
125.
125, 250K.
They say we're gushing over pads here
Yeah, why not?
in the booth. You know, we're poker fans. That's it. We're poker fans.
I'll gush about it whoever I want to gush over.
I mean, I stand by what I said earlier at the top of the show. He's one of the greatest tournament players of our time, greatest tournament minds of our time. So I think the gushing is very much warranted.
I don't think it's a gush. It's a slow like.
I'm
seep.
gushing.
It's a sign of respect more than anything. And the King 8 off here for Liu. Good enough to shove. 10-6 suited. You know, we've seen players make some big calls with 10-6 suited in the big blind, Donnie.
We did. Shout out Braxton Dunaway, WSB main event third place finisher.
He was definitely done with with that.
$4 million in his pocket.
Incredible. I joke with Kenny Hollard after the fact. I saw the classic tax article, you know, about the main event, and Kenny lives in London. No gambling taxes there, I guess. And I said to Kenny, "You guys should have made a deal forehanded that you win the tournament, and then you guys all get some extra money." And he was laughing. He said that everyone has their own you know, deals and pieces and stuff to make this fairly complex, but it is kind of crazy when you look at that to see how much gets taken out of the prize pool.
So we got 12 big blinds here on the button. Maybe you would just see King 10 ship it, but we comes with a min raise.
Do you know how much you have to start with?
Roughly,
It's just hard to see.
it's 1.7.
2.4. 2.34.
1.7, there's 2 million.
No,
2.3.
2.9, right?
Oh, it's not. It's 2.4.
Yeah,
He's talking
2.9.
about.
Oh, okay, yeah. Behind.
2.950. 2.950.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just asking him how much he has.
2.950.
2,950.
Yeah.
You know you don't have to say anything. You can just leave your chips there. You don't have to speak a word.
Sorry, where? Can you let's play the hand, please?
I can talk if I want, bro. I'm in the game just like you.
If he has his chips all stacked, I can ask him to count them out for me.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Things getting heated here at the table.
Yeah.
You see what's going on. You played enough.
Gregory not stopping here. Seemingly normal request from Leonard to inquire about a chip stack. See 7-3 deuce, 2 spades. Liu with the king high out in front, but obviously not a great situation for him, but he is going to bet it.
600,000.
And there's some interesting things at play there. One, asking someone their chips, trying to get a read maybe on the situation, how they respond. And then two, to Derek Gregory's point, someone just needs to kind of have their chips stacked appropriately. But if your opponent's not stacking their chips in an easy to count fashion, that's when you can kind of request them to be in 10s or 20s so you can easily verify.
Like, for example, here, Lou.
We can stack in. We have to stack in 20s, right?
Stack in 20s, correct.
Thank you.
It's easier.
Thank you.
So Leonard indeed verifying to make the counting a bit easier.
I love it.
Yeah, I love to see a little friction at the final table. Like, come on, we're playing for $164,000. Let's go. Let's get a little animosity bubbling in the air.
Is Leonard going to troll here and ask how much Gregory has?
Notice Gregory kind of putting his hand in front of his chips. I don't know if that's by design.
I don't think
you know if he does ask, Gregory's not going to say a word.
Thank you.
He is asking to see.
You see how quick he moved his hand and moved it back? It was like a split second. I love it.
Mind games.
If Gregory wins another pot off pads with queen high, he might just windmill it in his face.
He should.
I know, right?
Look, Patrick Leonard's never folding this hand here. It's just how he wants to proceed.
Can you see how much you have, please? I still can't see. Thank you.
Looks like he's got 6.1.
Are you blind, bro? Why you keep asking every 2 seconds? You see my chips, man? I can see yours.
You
Not a
move your hand
problem.
after a second. Can't see. You move your hand straight away.
I moved my hands 3 times. Let's go, bro. What you gonna do? You just gonna sit here and waste the whole clock?
Call.
All right, Gregory now perhaps with a bit more vigor trying to win some pots off Leonard. Let's see if this back and forth chatter is going to affect the play. Gregory visibly upset at Pads' sort of, I guess, slow-ish play and asking for a count. Is Pads out of line here, Donnie?
I don't think he's out of line asking to see the chips. I do get the sense that Pads is taking a little bit longer than is possibly needed. You know, but he's one of those guys who's going to think through every single scenario. So I know what he's doing. Now, could he play a little bit faster? Likely, yes. And that's what Gregory's, you know, getting at here.
Queen 3-4 open-ended here for Leonard. Gregory, by raising here, creating a fairly sizable pot here, and perhaps making this hand a bit more difficult to play.
I think so, yeah. But look, we see there's an undertone here. Poker is a psychological game. It's a people-person game. And that's what we kind of see happening right now. And Patrick Leonard with a pretty big flop here. Queen high. He's got 4 to the straight. He's got overcards to the 4 and the 3, which are very important in a scenario like this. So he can proceed however he wants here.
Now, do you think Leonard is keeping in the back of his mind here the fact that Gregory might be a little frustrated?
Yeah, I think they both are kind of playing off that.
1.7.
Oh, wow, 1.7 million. Come with the check raise here on the open end of the straight draw.
I mean, look, you really got to check your ego when you play poker. And I'm not saying any of these players have done anything wrong. But when you let your ego get flared up in a hand, you could make a big mistake.
Action back on Gregory. He's got 5.3 million behind. Started this hand with 26 big blinds.
And look, even though you see some chatter from these guys, Derek Gregory's really even keel from my experience playing with him and chatting with him over the years. So I think he'll just exit this pot, but he's going to just, you know, make it be known that he's going to take this and consider.
Quietly, Gregory lays it down and pads. He's going to drag this one. Donnie, what's the chat saying about that little verbal back and forth?
I mean, I feel like we're kind of on equal sides.
Okay, good.
Some people on Gregory's side, some people on Pads' side. So
I saw finally some entertainment. That's what I saw from the chat.
From Madison, Wisconsin, Derek Gregory still looking comfortable here. 21 big blinds, nothing to be concerned with. Favorite hand, King 8 suited. We saw that earlier. That was the hand that ended Michael Cervantes' tournament.
it is interesting that they do play with a clock on day 2, but then they don't play with one at the final table. So, you know, I mean, Pads is within his right to take as much time as he wants, and obviously people are then within their right to call the clock, but I'm guessing this didn't come up before this table is why I bring that up, because if everyone's got, you know, whatever, 20 seconds pre-flop, they're acting a little bit faster, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, we've not seen the last of this clash. The guys are in the blinds constantly, and Pads is going to ask at least 12 more times to someone if he can see their chips or how much they have.
Board texture here that favors Gregory.
He's going to come with the minimum bet here. Liu quickly out of the way. I will say, if they come to blows, I'm taking Gregory. I mean, Pads is just too small. I don't think he can overcome him.
Gregory is twice the size of Patrick Leonard. But it won't come to that. We're gentlemen. This is a gentleman's game.
All right, chat. Let us know what side you're on. Just put Gregory or Pads in the chat. Let's see what.
We're building rivalries here in the booth.
I mean, it's good to have a little rivalry here, a little bit of animosity. It's good for the entertainment.
Ammonia.
And there is the jam from Liu. Ace deuce suited.
Not much.
Gregory did open this one to 550.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 3.325.
Yeah, this is a tough spot if you're Gregory. Even though we see him a favorite here, the risk reward is tough.
Liu over there just looking as comfortable as can be, bobbing his head. Not really a care in the world.
It's about another 11 big blinds to call, and you do see him pass.
Nice little pickup there for Liu. Gets up over 4 million.
So 3 and 4, a lot closer now. Only 4 big blinds separating them. And Leonard getting a little more distance from second as well.
Make it 500,000.
But Gregory not backing down here.
500,000.
Yeah, and these are the types of hands and the types of spots that I would guess can get him in some trouble here. Just, again, given where the stacks are. I know his stack has converged a little bit with Liu, but still. Opening here, first act, you still got 3 players behind you. Leonard can defend and make life difficult out of the big blind, so tricky here. But on the other side of things, you know, I feel like you kind of just got to respect the fact that Gregory's stuck to his game. Like, this is his game, so.
Yep, well said all around.
Pads does defend, Jack-6 deuce with a couple of clubs. $600K, half pot from Gregory.
No club. We just throw ace high in the muck. And yeah, like Donnie, you said, you know, just sticking to his guns there, kind of king 7 off. You wouldn't expect that really in this scenario, but he's finding a way to just keep building his stack. Look, I think we're going to have some interesting shorthanded play from here on forward. This is getting good, boys.
It's been a great final table already, and lots more to play for. If you want to play some poker yourself, come on down to the Venetian Poker Room, located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal shops. Action going on around the clock. Day 1B of the 1100 is going on right now. That event will be streamed live on Venetian Poker Live and PokerGo on Tuesday, July 22nd. So if you want to play on TV and have us give our hot takes on your every move, you might as well jump in there and get into that tournament, which has a 300K guarantee.
Let's see if we see more mind games here between these two. Patrick, Leonard, maybe thinking a little bit longer, like you said, Donnie.
I mean, we for sure have not heard the last of these two. Like, this is going to be a raise, and maybe Pads asks him how many chips he has.
It's the only thing. It's the only right thing to do.
And I mean, Gregory does have his hand in front of his chips, but...
Well, okay, the one thing I will say that is a little bit funny sometimes about some of the brightest minds in the game is that they very often ask for a count. And I always wonder, did you forget that you asked this the last hand too?
Yeah, just add 200K or whatever the heck you just won, you know.
And I do see that a lot. I'm not saying we're seeing that now. I'm saying that when you cover high roller events, you see it quite frequently.
Well, that's also like...
Patrick just left. Look, maybe he's going to go get a readjust or something. Maybe he's going to take a hand or two off just to get his wits about him or something. Who knows?
He's going to ask the guys in the 1-3 cash game for a count.
Well, that's like in PLO. All the elite guys are like, what's in the pot?
Oh,
what's in the pot? What's in the pot?
Don't even get me started on that. Don't even
you would think just by playing, you know, millions of hands over the course of their lives, they would just know quickly how to calculate the pot, but they're always like, what's the pot?
The funniest sort of PLO example of that is when we have absolute super crushers at some final table, and there's been some action, and then they ask how much is the pot raised. I'm like, you're supposed to be the one to teach us how to play this game. Three times the size of the last bet plus whatever the rest is.
You know, I do see it the most to what you're talking about at like the high rollers at the PokerGo studio and stuff, where after every hand, they're nonstop. How much do you have now? How much do you have now?
Right.
And to the player's point at the table today, I wouldn't be telling anyone anything.
Right, but just
look at my stack.
Stack them properly.
I told you it was 5 million 2 hands ago. You figure it out. Like
I always tell people. I always
I'm over
rip
that.
it off. I'm like,
no thanks. Nah, this is not a friendly game. This is it's a dog-eat-dog world.
But if I asked you, you would tell me.
I would tell you guys.
There we go. Yeah,
I would tell people I like.
It's personal. It's a personal thing. All right, chat. Let us know. Do you tell your opponent what you have? Do you stack appropriately? Do you do the little quick hand motion?
I think there's like telling someone once, maybe twice. But once you're asking me every time, it's like, look, this is my stack, bro.
I mean, I'll tell you every time if you ask me. I will also make fun of you for asking me every time.
That's
I'll
fair.
Say, can you not count, buddy? Like, it's the same as it was last time, minus the small blind. Like,
that's fair.
Wait, make it 500,000.
Now, we did see Leonard defend 9-6 offsuit previously. So 10-7 offsuit seems kind of natural for him. And I think this is also by design for his opponent. He knows his opponent's raising range on the button is probably wider than average. So we're going to see maybe a wider than average defense here. And look at this, 600K C-bet with the gutty and the overcard. And what do we do if we're Leonard here? Because we're only working with about a little more than pot left when we call. Do we ever have ideas of jamming here? But no. Typically your mid pair here is always just calling.
I also think especially versus Liu, who is known to get aggressive, you just want to keep all those bluffs in the range, but instead here, Liu drills it on the turn, makes a straight, and now, of course, I think Liu has to play into his persona and continue betting.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you could do some checking to trap, but I doubt we're ever going to see that.
And Liu continues, and the snap fold from Leonard, too scary of a board, does not want to continue with that. And Leonard keeps walking off. I wonder if there's something going on here. I wonder if he's trying to get a hold of tournament staff or maybe
checking his phone.
Trying to order a beverage, checking the phone. Yeah, possible.
Players aren't allowed to have their phones in the room. They leave them outside the room, so.
Kappa in the chat says, if you ask me every other hand, you're annoying. Donald says, stack appropriately and don't say anything.
Yeah. Okay. First here.
Lenny says, where is this at Venetian? Doesn't look like their regular poker room. You are correct, sir. This is, by the way, this is now their new regular poker room, but it is no longer in the old location that you might know from the past. We are now located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal shop, so a little stroll down from the original poker room, but it is for the better as this new room is stunning, and they have this beautiful streaming room right in there as well. You can order food tableside. The menu is fantastic. I've sampled every single item on that menu. Bathrooms are inside the poker room. Honestly, it's just a great place to play.
And in a spot where we thought, you know, maybe Gregory would keep the aggression, we see him check back an ace-9 offsuit. Blind be blind here. I think it's pretty good.
Gregory takes it down, and no word has been spoken since that little back and forth. Perhaps some tensions brewing underneath the surface here as I remind you of the upcoming streams. Ignore what's on the screen. It's a beautiful graphic, but producer Curtis just hit the wrong button, which is fine. He's doing an amazing job. Just want to remind you, July 22nd, the UltimateStack final table that I mentioned already, 300K guaranteed, 1K buy-in. You can still play that and make it onto the stream. Then on the 23rd, the following day, the next cash game, Oaken's game. Go to okensgame.com if you want to put your name in the hat to play in that game. And then on the 30th, a week after that again, we're back with more cash game action, 100, 200, no limit. So Big action continues here on Venetian Poker Live as we see Patrick Leonard, without asking anyone for a count, raising with ace-king offsuit. Is that a tell?
It's been a while since we've seen a big hand, and now we do. This would be a bad time for Gregory to get out of line here with just the 8 high and no blockers. I love poker. I mean, look at the energy in the arena has definitely shifted. To Remco's point, nobody said a word.
I think Ostapchenko has yet to say a word, period. He's just all business right here at this final table. And again, you know, reminder of the payouts, $62,000 guaranteed on a $1,600 buy-in. Like, that is phenomenal ROI just for the top 4. And then we go up from there. 85K, 117, and 164. 35 hands into the final table. Lost 3 players already. We got some great action still to come here as we are, again, approaching the next blind level where we're going to be in 200K. Excuse me, we're going to be at 153 very soon. Nice small jumps, great structure.
Raise to 900. Okay.
900,000 here from the small blind. Big raise.
That is a big raise. Within the 4x sizing though, and it's going to shed Queen 9 offsuit from playing in position.
Once again, if you're enjoying the stream and you're enjoying a bit of banter here, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We very much appreciate it.
I mean, this is anyone's game at this point. Sure, we see Patrick Leonard holding the chip lead with 40 bigs, but if anyone doubles up, they will be the chip leader. Donnie, I do think it's really interesting what you were saying earlier about on day 2 of this tournament, all the players play with a shot clock and have time extensions, and then at a final table that gets removed. Interesting to maybe hear Tommy's reasoning behind that, or whatever. Maybe it's better stream quality or what, but I do think there's something, you know, to be said about being under pressure and having a dedicated amount of time to making your decisions.
I have a new hot take that I developed last night while sitting on my couch. And this isn't just here, this is everywhere as we see Ostapchenko pick up 10s. But we give everyone too many time extensions all across poker. Because shouldn't, like, I don't know, maybe 25 to 30% of people like run out of them in a tournament? And no one ever runs out of them.
True.
So, like, are they even a factor? They should be more of a factor is what I'm getting at. That's my new take. Put a little more pressure in the game. Like,
okay, Donnie, how about
we
this?
get to these PGT final tables, people have 30 of them. It's like, well, they're never going to use them. What's the point?
What about this, Donnie? You get only 2 time extension chips, but if you bust someone, you get 2 of theirs. So, like, you know, if someone else has, like, busted a bunch of players, you don't get 16 of them, but you get 2 for every player you bust.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm just, generally speaking, I just think that everyone gets too many.
Right.
I never see anyone run out of them. It's so rare. And, like, we make such a big deal out of it in the commentary, but because it's so rare. Oh, my gosh, he doesn't have any. Like, there should be more. Like, when you're playing basketball or whatever, it's a fair amount of time during the game that people are at the end of a shot clock. Or in football, they're at the end of the play clock. Like, it happens much more often than, like, once a game.
What if we're learning now that players who take a lot of time will never make a final table? It's
the players that run out of their shot clocks bust quick.
Yeah.
As we see Gregory here with a pretty good hand up against the button. You could just play all-ins here, covering the big blind. It seems like a lot, but it's sub 30 shove against the wide range of the chip leader raising on the button. As we see Gregory mulling over his decision here.
Does Gregory have a 3-bet size that he can be comfortable with? Does he have?
You do, but it's your 3-bet folds and your 3-bet value stuff. Eights is like one of those hands that just wants to win the pot kind of now.
If you 3-bet non-all-in and you get jammed on, you're just going to throw up on the table, like with eights.
Right.
It's like just so hard to call it off.
1.6. 6.25.
Oh, does Lou have a hand here? He does not.
I mean, look, this is likely to work, but if Patrick Leonard had Jack 10 suited, Queen Jack suited, Queen King suited, those hands are going to take a flop at least. And now you have to play 2 8s out of position with a 2-to-1 SPR stack to pot ratio. So those hands just really don't want to 3-bet due to the fact that they might have to play post flop or, to Donnie's point, get jammed on and then what?
Well, nice pickup here for Gregory as the stacks continue to even out here at this final table.
The time bank thing is interesting to Donnie's point as well. Is like, I don't know. I think 30 seconds is fine in most pre-flop decisions. I think when you get in some very big hands in a very big spot, then there is minutes warranted of thought. And that's where I think, like, sometimes you don't have enough time banks when you only have 3 or 4. If you do need 2 or 3 minutes to think about a big spot. But again...
Yeah, I'm sure I would like, 5 minutes to run a play at the end of a basketball game, but I don't have that.
It's actually funny.
I have 24 seconds.
I hear that. I hear that.
And I got to get a shot up.
I follow chess a fair bit. I suck, by the way, but I like following it. Magnus Carlsen was playing against Gukesh, the reigning world champion. And Carlsen mentioned that playing classical chess, which gives you like an insane amount of time, very, very slow game. Gukesh is very much one of the best players in the world because he gets so much time. But Magnus has been dominating him in the shorter time formats, which are more reliant upon quick thinking, perhaps a more mental agility, maybe a bit more talent-based. And it is interesting to note that some players will come to the right conclusion if they are given a lot of time, while others, perhaps on intuition or perhaps because they think a bit quicker, are not as much influenced by having less time. So perhaps this calls for, various time formats to be available on the calendar. As we look at a 3-bet to 1.7 million by Ostapchenko.
Now, on his bio sheet, do you have a favorite poker hand from Derek Gregory? It's King 8 suited.
Oh my God, you're right. You're
and
so right.
He just asked to see Ostapchenko's chips, so, I mean, is he going to get a little wild here?
And, he is making the call here.
Spades covered.
Wow.
But these are the post-flop spots why we just mentioned 2-to-1 SPR, not even. And you have to play out of position, and this is why King 8 suited is his favorite hand, folks.
Drills, trips, and that bio sheet will remain unchanged for decades to come as the King 8 comes through here for Gregory. And look at this, Ostapchenko reaching for those orange chips.
Ostapchenko has ace-king in his range. Gregory does not. So we're going to see a c-bet here, and these are chips entering the void.
Yeah, he's got the ace-king. He's also got aces. He's got queens. So he's pretty comfortable betting this texture here.
Is this Blade Reborn about to slay the vampire in front of him?
How can Gregory possibly make his hand look weak? Everything he does looks strong here.
Yeah, but if you call, you could kind of be like, I got 2 9s, and maybe then Ostapchenko says, well, I got the premiums in my range more so than you, so I'm just going to fire off.
There's nothing you can do here but call. You have to call. Like, your whole range really wants to call here. Maybe you would jam some like Jack 10 of clubs, Jack 9 of clubs stuff, 10 9 of clubs, 10 8 of clubs if your range was extending out there. You could even have some ace X of club stuff. But I would say your range mostly just wants to call here. Like to Donnie's point, if you did have like 7s or 8s or 9s.
Gregory has not won a hand at Showdown yet. It's been all non-Showdown pots. Let's see what he comes with here.
I can't believe he flopped trick kings with his best hand, or his favorite hand. I just can't believe it just happened.
Donnie reached over, grabbed the bio sheet because he knew this was a thing, and pulled it right up. And we see trips just like that. So Gregory doing his best acting. He is an actor, right? This is his best acting here. Send it to the Actors Guild. We're going to submit this for an Emmy. He's trying his best to say, look, I got nothing here. I got some ace jack with a club. I want to float.
Well, if there are any, poker player parts in some movies or shows, they should reach out to Gregory. He obviously knows the parts. So often you get guys that they look like they've never touched cards in their life. Get this guy in there.
Let me also note here that Ostapchenko's poker pet peeve, tankers. So obviously Gregory not tanking. He's considering how to proceed here as we see
God!
The 8 comes in.
Of course.
This is absurd.
Of course.
How does he keep a straight face? Favorite hand, flops trips, turns a boat.
Andrew snap checks a turn. And again, the nuts present, we check back. By all means,
Oh, Pads, this is your time to shine.
Didn't he? I think he asked him pre-flop too, so he asked him twice in the same hand. Also, I don't know if you guys caught it, but while he was tanking pre-flop Gregory and facing the 3-bet, he kind of looked back at his hand as to be like, I really have my favorite hand, right? Like, I'm not getting rid of this hand.
I mentioned Pads because I'm rooting for maximum drama, and Pads had an opportunity there to come up with the funniest quip of all time. But he passed on the situation. We go check.
That
now.
would be insane if he would have said something there. But Andrew, his hand does improve. He chops with other ace highs now. So maybe he is thinking of some block bet here that gets him to showdown.
Man, what a spot for Gregory here.
6.5 million in the middle. Oh, wow. Block bet here on the river. 800,000.
And Gregory couldn't have played this any better post-flop. Obviously, it's kind of easy to play the nuts, too, in any poker hand. You just call and then you check. But
yeah, but there are times when people get a little bit overexcited and they just like they raise right away or they bet the turn too big or whatever. He's played this one, very calm and cool.
And that's gotten him the maximum, and he's just going to win all the chips here and put Andrew in a very tough spot.
And he will be the new chip leader here once he wins this hand.
And this is by far the longest hand we've seen at this final table.
Ostapchenko's just like, please don't raise. Please don't raise. Maybe fold. Just call and we chop.
All in.
And Gregory pulls the trigger, moves on. Ostapchenko taking a huge loss here as we have a new chip leader at the table. Derek Gregory up to 11.8 million. And anything's still possible here. Ostapchenko now the shortest stack with 3.6 million.
Thank you very much.
May I have pay rate, please?
Yeah.
Never fold King 8 suited. I'll play your favorite hand.
He never is folding King 8.
Maybe a little training day kind of look here.
Yeah.
Denzel and training day.
All in.
Oh, look at this. We have potentially a big clash here. King, queen offsuit. Pretty big hand here on the button.
Given Liu's style, are we surprised this is not a quick call here?
He's not folding. I don't think so. Yeah.
Makes the call. All right, here we go. all-in confrontation. A coin flip, about as close as it gets, pair versus the overcards. 7.7 million in the middle. If Liu wins this, it'll be a very even three-handed battle. Ostapchenko looking for his sixes to hold up. Could be out in two hands from hero to zero. Poker tournaments are just so ruthless. He's been the chip leader for the entire final table. One misstep versus Gregory. And now, tournament life on the line. Let's see the first three. Ace, 10, deuce. Broadway pickup here for Liu.
Yeah, he's also got backdoor spades. I mean, it's just pretty good flop, all things considered, not hitting a pair yet.
Ostapchenko looking like, oh, you got too many outs, man. This is like in my favor here. 7 of diamonds on the turn. 6 is still out in front. Note the queen and the jack that have been folded, so 8 outs here for Ostapchenko. All right, river card incoming. Ooh. It's the 6 of spades.
6, 6, 6.
3 sixes for Ostapchenko, and Liu now down to just 1.5 million.
We're having a break, right?
No.
So 2.5. We played 2.5 levels. Like we didn't take the break we should have had earlier.
Yeah.
So we should take this one, right?
No, I think they were going to do it after this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all right. So we
kind of right back to where we
forward.
started. Four-handed play.
Yeah,
Liu being very short, everyone else pretty healthy.
We're not taking a break, which I'm happy about because we all know that the YouTube viewers, just like myself, have ADD. So once you go on break, you just, you know, find a new hobby.
Find something else to do.
Find a new hobby. So thanks,
weekend.
Thanks for being with us here. Let us know how your weekend is going. It is Saturday, actually. I'm I don't even know what day it is.
I'm with you guys. They got me at the end of the series with something, you know, of course. So I missed a couple of the last events. I missed this 1600 I wanted to play. I will hop in this 1100 that the Venetian is running.
Let's go.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I'm sure you guys felt the same too, as much work as you put in the whole summer, kind of just trying to catch your breath. I mean,
what's that?
Right? Did you take at least a day to kind of
I always
recollect?
want to take a day, and immediately my wife is like, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this with the kids. I'm just like, can I just like sleep on the couch for a week, please?
There is like a big crash.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I haven't been able to experience it yet, really. I'm sure Remco is, you know, you've got
Remco's not allowed to sleep right now.
No, yeah, no, he's...
Maybe 2 hours, maybe.
Daddy mode.
I sleep in this way with a 7-week-old baby where you get so tired and delusional, Donnie, you'll recognize this, where you fall asleep and you wake up thinking you heard the baby cry, but it's just so in your brain that there was no crying. But you're awake again, and it like just repeats itself.
You wake up in shock.
You're like, oh, he's crying, and then you check, and no, he's just sleeping. Yeah, I took 4 1-hour naps through the night. I didn't even have like continuous sleep.
Okay, Leonard here. Blind v blind battle. Look at this. The blinds have gone up to 300K, so we do see a raise, not 3x, but whatever that raise size is going to be, 2.7. And Leonard coming with the limp re-raise with the ace-4 offsuit. GTO find here.
We have seen Leonard go to his phone a couple times, so I wonder if he's getting some information on how Gregory is playing in these blinds, because this is like the 4th or 5th time that they've battled blind versus blind. You know, we saw he raised the 8-9, he flatted with the queen-9 and then floated the flop. He raised the ace-jack, but then he checked back the ace-9. So,
and this is kind of standard if you're Leonard here, honestly. You can limp and see a flop, but then you don't really love to limp and call there. Those hands don't flop well, so
thank you.
Sure, maybe he did see something, but that's kind of a standard approach there in theory.
Number 3?
Yes.
Leonard almost back up to 10 million. We're eyeing Liu now. to see when he's going to stick those final few chips in the middle. Oh, and pocket jacks for Leonard.
The jackies.
Biggest pair we've seen at this table so far.
Raise to 700K.
Notice, not the minimum. A touch more than the minimum. With Liu short stack in the big blind.
Quick round of folds. And Luno in the small, posting 150. It's going to be all in the next couple hands. Again, Final Four guarantees 62,000. The pay jump that we're currently on is worth $23,000. Button ace-4 here for Gregory. Way good enough here versus Liu.
Raise 700K.
So you talked about the pay jumps, right? We are seeing 23,000 or so pay jump for the 4th to 3rd, but Queen 10 is going to take a flop here.
We see Jack 10 deuce. Gregory flopping the nut flush draw. Ostapchenko with the pair of tens.
Normally you see a small bet continue here with the ace of hearts. There could be some other ideas with Liu only having 3 big blinds behind.
Yeah, I think here Gregory can just unload all 3 streets, really. I mean,
Yeah, that's the idea for sure.
and part of that is, yeah, normally you see small bets here, but he can go a little bit larger and just really put the pressure on.
This, you know, if Andrew had to face a small size, like 2 bigs, 400, you know, anywhere from 400 to 600K, it's a little harder. When he just starts facing the 1 million right off the rip, look, we got 4 million in the middle. He's got 6 million back now?
Yeah, 5.7.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But I don't think an all-in really tells the story here if you're Gregory. I think just another maybe
No,
bet
he can
does.
come like 1.7, half pot, size it for a river jam.
Even 1.3 here is still good because you're telling like a complete story. But let's see. Let's see what he does. But I'm with Donnie that this is kind of a blast-off spot. But when you bet $1 million on the flop, you know your opponent has connected in some capacity.
Goes check, check. River is the 8 of clubs. Ostapchenko gets the check mark. 9 does make a straight.
Yeah.
Gregory did not check yet. Graphic, a little glitch there. Does Gregory have a reasonable bluff here?
That's tough.
It's harder once you check back the turn. I honestly would have liked him to just go all 3 streets here. Has that ace of hearts, blocks the nut flush. He's just going to check it back.
Queen 10 shown here by Ostapchenko. And we got the three rich guys and Liu trailing at the back. As I've said often, 3-handed play in tournaments, my favorite thing to watch and cover just because of how the dynamics are so fluid and you cannot really have too much patience versus when it's when there's a bit more players at the table, and it's shaping up to be a 3-handed between the 3 most active players at the table.
Morning.
And Queen 3 off here from the button. Liu moves all in.
900?
Roughly 800, I think.
800?
And Leonard is going to make the call here with the 9-8 offsuit. And look at this, 2 million in the middle. And it is basically a coin flip.
Pretty good spot for Liu, all things considered here with Queen 3 offsuit.
Can't complain when you're at risk, and this is the showdown, and it comes 6-3-5, 2 hearts. Leonard with plenty of outs here.
Yeah.
Liu out in front. Can he maintain his lead? Deuce of clubs on the turn.
The 4, huh?
Well, I'll take it.
And now a 7, 8, or a 9 is what Leonard needs to send Liu to the rail. Let's see the river card. It's the 4 of spades, and we see a straight on board. Chop it up. I mean, I'm happy Liu can laugh, but that's a really, really big bummer for him.
He will profit a little bit there. And when you're that short, any profit feels amazing. But he has one more hand to see before he's going to have to put in 600K. Again, players working on almost a $23,000
Not many ways
pay
to
jump.
chop without using one of our cards. It's just the one way.
9 suited, that's good enough.
Definitely.
Right. Liu's going to try again.
Fault. Fault.
I mean, Gregory has to call with just about anything here. And he's going to call with ace-5. Strong holding there in the big blind. And we're back to it. Liu now the underdog.
Feels like you're a favorite somehow. I don't know. I don't know why.
Especially when he has a diamond.
All right, so 2.45 million in the middle now. And oh, here comes ace, queen, queen.
It's like,
Gregory with 2 outs. An ace and an ace only.
we both folded quickly. We both folded quickly, so we probably didn't have an ace.
Okay.
3 of spades in a turn. Liu, all smiles here, having to fade just 2 outs.
It's like 7%.
River card. The 4 clubs. And Liu
1.1.
will
That
get
would've been more fun
his
spot.
double up.
Don't call it a comeback.
$1.1 million heading in Liu's direction. Reminder again, the upcoming streams here over at Venetian Poker Live, as I mentioned, the Ultimate Stack. You can still jump in there if you're listening to this live on July 19th. That final table streaming on the 22nd, and then we have 2 cash games coming up in the weeks that follow, or excuse me, the day that follows, and then the week that follows. Oaken's game. You can actually apply to play in the game. Bring your own money though. OakensGame.com to perhaps get yourself a seat in that high stakes cash game, which, by the way, 2 weeks ago was phenomenal and outrageous in many ways. Highly recommend a rewatch of that. You can find the
if he goes all in
on-demand
for $1 million
action
and I call $1 million
on the
in the
Venetian
big blind,
Poker Live
he doesn't get my
YouTube
He
channel.
doesn't get half of my call. I take my big blind back. I think maybe should give him my too much. Do you know what I mean? If you had 800, he should get 75 from you and 150 from the ante. He shouldn't get any of my.
He should get half of what's the small blind and the big blind.
Do you know what I'm saying or no?
I know.
800.
Doesn't matter. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's too late.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I know.
I mean, I said it, but.
Yeah, it's fast. Thank you. Yeah.
Liu thanking Leonard for perhaps receiving a little bit too many chips here.
Oh yeah, I see.
Might need to
That's exactly what happened.
get a ruling
Yeah,
here.
they paid him too much. I said it straight away though. But
You got 450, right?
he should have got 225.
He had 800 when he shoved all in, and then the next hand when he doubled up, he had 1.1. That's too much.
He should have had 1.025 million, but he had 1.1.
That was for your sign, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I said it in the middle of the hand, but
I don't know. I just
Maybe he had more than 800 when he went all in. That's the only thing.
So this is about 2 hands ago, not the most recent hand.
No, 2 hands ago.
He went all in for 800k. I call, we chop. Then the next hand, he just doubled up for this guy, and he had 1.1 million. But if he had 800, he should have 1.025.
But again, what we're saying is that 2 hands ago, you think could have not been done correctly.
Yes, but
So unfortunately, at this point,
Yeah, so you lost more than you should have.
And me too.
Yeah.
We both did.
doesn't mean that I want to figure out the issue. Doesn't count that number originally, but also once we played the next hand, it's started
but you're not
to make it actually.
taking into consideration the ante.
I am. He gets half of the ante, which is 150. He gets half of the small blind, which is 75. It's 225. He had 800k when he went all in, so that should be 1.025 million. But you just paid him 1.1 million. He doesn't get any of my big blind because I called my big blind and I take it back.
Right.
Yeah, even though logically sounds like you've got this thought through. If 2 hands ago, we had an issue that was not fixed in that moment, then there's like a.
I mean, I said it when he said 1.1.
There's a certain point that now we have to.
I'm not trying to get any money back. I'm just saying that the last time was wrong. That's all. Sorry, can I just see your stack? Just say no. You have 6, 6.5, 7.
All right, so Leonard pointing out that Liu received a hair too many chips, which also led to
All in.
All in?
Gregory paying a hair too much on that recent double up. So
I want
Liu
to get my
now
150 back.
with a few extra chips.
Thank you.
Quick reminder
I
here,
think
Correct it.
we are
Just we
approaching.
chop the ante and the small blind, right?
So 150 plus 75 is 225.
Maybe, I don't know, I didn't count with my
I said
stack.
the only thing is maybe you had more than 800.
Yeah, it's more than that, I think.
That's it.
We try
No,
trouble.
he didn't have more than 800.
I don't know.
He didn't. I remember it was 800.
Oh, 900. Oh, it's
You
a
had
8.
800. Yeah, you
It's
had
a,
you had
oh,
800.
it's a 875, I think.
You had 875?
Yeah.
Then that would explain
Yeah,
it.
875.
I called
yeah.
800.
Yeah,
so-
because I have one stack and something like that.
Uh-huh.
I think,
okay.
yeah.
It's okay.
Small
It's
blind and king.
I think it's 875, I think.
Raise make it 600,000.
Okay, so everyone's given their input
Yeah,
on
I want to hear what
happened there.
Ostapchenko has to
It's
say.
75 it works.
That works.
Yes, I think so.
That works.
Yeah.
All right, so Leonard back to it here with pocket
And
eights.
so
And
roughly 800, I think.
I want to remind you, we're closing in on
You get
10,000
875
subscribers
everything.
Yeah,
on the
I
Venetian
think
Poker Live
it's,
channel.
875.
If you are watching us on the PokerGo YouTube channel or on PokerGo.com,
Well, kind of. Yeah.
please find the Venetian Poker Live YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. There's also a link in the PokerGo YouTube
I
chat.
just got the 2 yellow, 1 brown, right?
Sure, it's a
200. Yeah. Check the video.
So again, let's help us hit 10,000 subs on the Venetian Poker Live channel. It's very much appreciated. We post daily shorts, also highlights and other hands on the channel. Lots more to come this year. Very much appreciated. And Leonard now gets called by Ostapchenko in the big blind. No incentive here for Leonard to bet at it. Gets checked to the river. Eights are best.
2 million?
Oh, look at this. Overbet lead on the river.
Yeah, interesting turning king high into a bluff here, blocking the 8-9, but Leonard blocking the 8-9 even more. And when Leonard gets to the river with a hand like this, he might want to ponder, but no.
Leonard lets it go. Ostapchenko back up to 10 million. Swings are huge here with these stakes. Ostapchenko a few hands ago was almost out the door. Now, basically back in the chip lead. One of the few hands that Liu can't shove, as we get our next blind battle between Ostapchenko and Leonard, potentially.
Sure.
Jack 5-5. King high, well out in front here. We're going to see lots of this potentially, lots of small pot blind battles.
Leonard with a gut shot.
River's the ace of clubs. King high looking pretty good here.
King high, probably pondering, do I just want to take my showdown value or bet for value with king high? Ace pretty safe in terms of probably doesn't pair Leonard all that much.
All eyes on Liu still. Liu's holding on with 5 bigs. And now being under the gun, knowing that 2 of those big blinds will be in the middle forcefully on the next hand. So what are we looking to shove here with just 5 bigs?
Whew. Well, any pair, any ace, any good suited connector, probably any Broadway. But you don't have to shove anything. Like, you don't have to panic, even though you're going to lose a big portion of your stack.
Raise. 600,000.
Are you surprised this? Oh, he comes to the raise. Sorry. Ostapchenko comes to the raise with king 10 off. Gregory, of course, in an awkward spot here. You know, you don't want to play hands right now unless you have real strong holdings.
Yeah, this is awkward.
Do you like taking the conservative approach and just calling? Or is it better to make your hand into a bluff by 3-betting?
I think if you're going to 3-bet all in is an okay play, but if you're considering ICM, I'm really not sure. So we see David in the chat ask, how should the other players adjust having a short stack like Liu? You know, I don't know. Like, you really want to move up in money, but there was a lot of chips out there to be won. Maybe you could just jam an ace-8 offsuit there and just win the pot pre-flop. Now we got to navigate post-flop. So, I mean, this is good so far from Gregory, but I don't know if he gets to showdown without a lot more aggression coming from Andrew. I think there is a point where your opponent is so short, your defending range becomes very, very consolidated. I mean, if you're folding hands like ace-8 offsuit against the button, that's very tight, but I don't know what threshold that is in terms of how short the player needs to be. If they're all in the next hand, I can imagine we probably start folding very, very more frequently. But either way, kudos to Gregory. He's gotten to the river. He's now qualified. He's gotten a great run out. And I don't see a way he loses this hand. But maybe Andrew has other ideas to put maximum pressure on him here somehow.
Does go check, check, and Gregory was ahead the whole way. Adds an 8, or pairs an 8 for reassurance on the river, but no chips went into the middle after the pre-flop action.
So that's one idea of ICM, and it's more of an idea like when you're closer to the money, like on the bubble, not at a final table, but I can play my kind of chip EV ranges because my opponents will play more straightforward because we're all aware of ICM. That's kind of what we saw there. And if a player is going to play like that, then I think, by all means, just go ahead and play your hands. Because you're also not at risk in what we just saw here. I think we see Leonard going to fold 5-4 here and let Gregory do the work in the small blind.
And Gregory is just going to put the chips in here to create a showdown with Liu, who snaps it off and finds a really good-looking king-queen offsuit here. A little unfortunate for Gregory to be up against that strong a hand. But here we go. 3.1 million in the pot. Liu's tournament life on the line, which I believe is for the 4th time now.
This is what we live for, the runouts.
5 cards to come. Liu looking for that king-queen to hold up, and it comes ace, 7, 8. And Gregory pairs his 7. Now 6 outs twice for Liu. Backdoor Broadway available to him. Other than that, it's going to be a tough one to win. Deuce of spades will eliminate that backdoor option, and now Liu down to just a king or a queen, or he will be our 4th place finisher. The river is the 10 of clubs, and that will do it. Qing Liu eliminated in 4th place. Takes home $62,957 as Derek Gregory rakes in the big pot after getting fortunate in the run out. And we got our expected 3 battling heads up for the title and the payouts that you see on your screen. 85K for the final 3, 117, 164. I cannot see these players in any situation make some sort of deal. These guys came here to play. Difference between 3rd and 1st is basically a double up, almost an 80K difference.
And kudos to the Venetian for allowing deals. There are some operators out there that don't facilitate deals. That's really troublesome to the players. So shout out to the Venetian Poker Room. We got Simone in the chat saying, how are you all in with Jack 7 but no movement on Ace 8? And I think that's just, if you notice what the stacks were at the moment there, Simone, we see Gregory not wanting to be at risk. But when you're the bigger stack and you can move all in with Jack 7, then you could put the pressure on the short stack. And that's really what that was happening there.
All right, you can see the stacks at the top of your screen. Basically even stacks between all 3. 30-ish big blinds for the final 3 players. This could be quite an intense battle. This could go quite a while.
Yeah.
Was that Nick Palma? I just walked in there.
It was.
Nicky P.
Nicky P. Shout out to the Battler. Online influencer, Twitter, infamous. But look, we got 30 big blinds average stack. This could be a long heads-up match, but it's 3-handed. Chips can fly too, so let's see. All right, we got a lot of money to play for. We got 80,000 separating 3rd and 1st.
Gregory comes to the race to 800,000. Call was made, and we see Ace Jack 10. Gregory well out in front here.
Appreciate everyone joining us in the chat. Keep it nice in the chat out there, everybody. Keep it friendly. I know trying to scream at people screaming at clouds on the internet is never a good idea, but be nice in the chat. We're all humans. Let's have a little kindness. Let's have a little empathy as we see top pair bet and bottom pair call here.
Jack pairing here, giving Leonard a flush draw. Do these flush draws on paired boards have any value, or are they sort of very tough to play?
They have a lot of value when they come with a pair, and a flush draw, because some of your bluffs from your opponent will come from King X or Queen X here, or maybe just bottom of range stuff, like if they have, let's say, 7-8 suited. But Derek Gregory's got to be a little concerned about the jack pairing, so I think we're going to see him want to check his hand a lot here, as this pot's already kind of swelled to 13 big blinds in the middle.
The Queen of Spades completes the board. Gregory with the check mark.
And both players have showdown value. Let's see if Patrick Leonard decides to go against his showdown value, per se, and turn his 10x into a bluff, because this is kind of one of the weaker hands he is going to get to the river with, a 10.
Oh, wow. Leonard puts aside what could be an overbet bluff here. It looks like 4.3 million. This is a huge bet here with 3.8 million in the middle. Now, Leonard not showing any aggression. Calling pre, calling flop, then check, check, turn. We're just going to represent the straggler king here, I guess.
4.3 million.
So he's representing
a jack or a king?
Jack or full houses. Jack 10, which he blocks. Or a straight, of course. Queen Jack is obviously in his range here. But I think it's more straight and full houses rather than trips is kind of the idea with the big overbet here.
This might sound like a weird question, but is Gregory more worried about the strength of his hand or the strength of Leonard's hand?
I think the latter.
Right.
He's just more concerned about what Patrick Leonard can have here.
And look at this, Leonard with the bluff on the river. Gregory lets it go.
I mean, great find there. That's a, hey, I get to the river with kind of one of the bottom of my range hands, and I don't think everyone out there finds a bluff. So that's the experience, that's the X factor stuff, and that's what makes Patrick Leonard Patrick Leonard.
Now, Donnie, given their earlier little back and forth quip, which clearly has, they've moved on from it, if you're Leonard, do you ever get to a point where in this spot you want to show a bluff to, like, maybe, I don't know, have your opponent make a misstep?
I don't think so if you're pads. I think your plays, doing things like coming with overbets and whatnot, more maybe unorthodox from what Gregory is used to seeing, is going to keep him guessing enough. I think you can possibly do some other things if you want to get under his skin. You know, just ask him to see his chips a few more times in a hand, stuff like that.
We'll see what happens, because we're going to have another blind on blind confrontation.
1 million.
1 million. Yes.
And I think he put out 2 million. He said 1 million.
I think that might just be 9.
Yeah.
And we probably will see these players fight a little bit more for pots now that they're three-handed and they all are relatively equal stacks. I kind of like that fold there with the Queen 7 by Gregory.
Stacks remain close here as we are three-handed. If you're just tuning in, thank you. Please stick around. We are playing down to a winner in this UltimateStack. And the winner, of course, not only gets a pile of cash, but also this beautiful redesigned Venetian Poker Winged Lion trophy.
The Lion of Venice. Remember, the Lion of Venice, Remco.
There we go.
600,000.
You're so cultured.
Well, I've been to Venice once.
Same. I've been there once.
Okay, so you don't remember seeing this lion?
Oh, I do. I do.
That's it. That's the inspiration.
So they based that whole town on the casino in Vegas. That's
insane,
pretty crazy.
right?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Very, very crazy. All right, 55 hands into the final table here. Let us know in the chat. Who do you think is going to win? Let me put a poll up in the chat, actually. I want to see what people say. Because we have a pretty even match. King 4 off here for Gregory. Just decides let's let go of his button.
Check.
See some of the folks in the chat like that 10-7 hand. Cool hand, says Garrett Smith. Run bad, perfect river to bluff. And sorry, so hard to have enough bluffs in that spot. As we see these players play post flop here. Patrick Leonard flopping best.
A bet and a call on the flop here. 8 of spades on the turn. Let's see if Ostapchenko wants to, or is going to try to find a way to proceed.
I think we're going to see Leonard keep betting. And a 3 is going to kind of be towards the bottom of the range you could consider continuing. But no considerations needed.
Little update on the poll. 65% believes that Leonard will take this down. 20% for Gregory, 16% for Ostapchenko. Venetian chat numbers tracking very similarly. So Leonard, according to the chat, the big favorite here, as he also has extended his chip lead a little bit here. Leonard with the limp, and it looks as though Gregory is going to charge a little extra to see a flop here. Comes with 1 million, and Leonard with the quick give up. So Tristan, are you going to jump straight into the 1K UltimateStack after commentary?
I might have to. I'm imagining yes at some time. I just I got flustered on my way over here and forgot that was my original plan. So I need to get some money and yeah. I got to get some money first, Remco.
Well, let's
unless you know they want to give me some credit here at the Venetian, do they do that?
Let's go to the pits and run it up.
Yeah, I got about 100 in my pocket.
That's enough.
But yeah, we'll be playing the 1100.
Love it. So that event still has registration open. I believe there is another starting flight tomorrow.
Yes.
And then day 2 on Monday. Final table stream on Tuesday. At this time, Gregory's chance to limp here. And now Ostapchenko with 9-4 off is just going to go pure bluff here. 1.4 million, going really large.
Yeah, the idea is just, look, my hand sucks. I just want to use it as a bluff, hope that you don't have a trap, hope that you don't shove on me or call, and then I'll play my range advantage in position if you do call.
$1.4.
What is the LB hat?
Long
Beach, right? Okay.
Yeah. I believe Ostapchenko's from out that way.
Isn't that the hat Snoop Dogg used to wear? The LB hat?
I mean, maybe. I don't know if it's that exact hat, but.
Now, we see Greg. Oh, whoa, what's going on? I was going to say, we see Gregory thinking here with a hand that is not exciting, but what kind of hand would he have to play back with? Let's construct a range for him to continue with.
I think his best suited stuff, like if he's limping Jack 9 suited here, 10-9 suited, Queen 9 suited, King 6 suited type stuff.
Or 15?
Maybe his spidey senses were going off a bit there,
Take this off,
thinking something was a little weird.
Sure.
All right, looks as though we are going on our first break of the day. 3 players remaining, battling for the top prize of $164,000. Patrick Leonard on 43 bigs. He is our chip leader. Gregory and Ostapchenko virtually tied for the runner-up spot. We have lots of poker left to be played here at Venetian Poker Live. My name is Remco Rinkema. Tristan Wade and Donnie Peters alongside me in the booth. Please join us again in about 15 minutes for continued coverage of this final table. See you in a bit.
Take home $500. Turn a river quads and you'll take home $250. But that's not all. Make a straight flush using both hole cards in your hand, one of which is also a 7, and if you flop it, you'll take home $500, or if you turn a river a straight flush, you'll take home $250. Be sure to join us for our card of the month in July. But that's not all, cash game players. We also have the Bad Beat Barrel promotion in July. If you have aces full of kings beaten by a better hand, you'll get to go to our drawing drum and grab an envelope with a cash prize anywhere from $250 to $5,000. That's right, take a bad beat and you'll be rewarded inside the Venetian Poker Room. Join us July 22nd at 12 o'clock on our YouTube channel, Venetian Poker Live, as we stream the final 7 players of our $1,100 buy-in, no limit hold'em, UltimateStack, $300,000 guarantee. See who takes home all the money and becomes our next DeepStack champion. If you enjoy watching high-stakes cash games from our Venetian Poker Studio, join us July 23rd and July 30th at 6 o'clock on our YouTube channel, Venetian Poker Live, as we host a 100-200 no-limit hold'em game with a $20,000 minimum buy-in. Once again, July 23rd, July 30th at 6 o'clock. From cash game promotions to ladies meetup games to tournament final tables to cash game streams, we've got it all for you here at the Venetian Poker Room. We look forward to seeing you in July.
0.2?
At that point, if you're still in the Squid Game, you might as well start shoving because you got to win one eventually.
And it's heads up between Boots and Nick right now?
I think so. Yeah, I did announce it actually.
Yes, you did. Okay, good. It's
and Nick here trying to get out of the Squid Game by making it 5,200 with 6-2 suited.
We do appreciate when they do.
6-3 for Boots gets out of the way.
I'll try and defend you, bro. I'll try and defend you.
JRB comes along with ace 10.
Root for 7 of clubs.
Ooh, got it.
7 of clubs.
Oh, Nick's on a mission for this one.
Ace 10-3. This might be costly if Nick tries to really fight for this one.
Well, I think he's going to. He's got one of those types of boards that, as the person who put in $5,200, is going to want to represent.
Well, maybe the 4 of diamonds would be a nice card.
No problem.
I'll take any diamond.
Instead, we get a deuce, so Nick does pair up. Action goes check. 5 of spades on the river. Let's see if JRB wants to stay tricky here, knowing that Nick wants to win his way out of the Squid Game. But instead, JRB is going to come out swinging. Donnie, would you have liked to see him check here? Nick has to bluff if he.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking of. Is that you just can really let Nick hang himself here. I know he did check back on the turn, so maybe that's telling JRB, this guy's slowing down a little bit. But you know, I think you can just really let him bomb the river. Is he gonna call?
Oh wow!
He calls.
Nick Salem with the hero call. And JRB gets a ton of value, and Boots will be happy with this because the Squid Game is still on.
Clubs are better than the 7 of clubs, all right? I protected you.
That was a big one for JRB.
He's loosened up a little bit.
28.
And he's going to try and punish here from the straddle. Nick will go see a flop. Rampage gets out of the way. Welcome to Joe Ingram in the chat. Good to have you with us. He says, road to 5K subs is heating up a little closer every day. But we won't be happy with 5K. We want 10K.
When's Joey going to be in the game?
Yeah. Get on the phone with JRB. I heard Joey is now a 2-card specialist.
That's what I mean, right?
He has
get in there.
He has forsaken his old love.
Yeah. Well, you made a pair now, Nick. I mean,
a pair is good enough. I'm sort of surprised at Oaken on numerous occasions now, check and flop as the initial raiser, and then betting the turn on what has looked like an inconspicuous card.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's. I mean, I think he should just be betting flops like this, right? But I also think that maybe he's thinking, well, in a way, kind of like see where I'm at. Like, I'll just check, and if he checks back, then I have, you know, I can just fire. Oh,
wow.
Snap call.
Oaken bets 17,600, and Nick snaps him off with 8-5.
What the fuck happened in this thing? What the fuck did I just miss?
You see the confidence I called him with?
I never seen you throw one chip.
Look at this. Welcome to the Nick Salem Show, ladies and gentlemen. And Boots here trying to evacuate himself from the Squid Game. Makes it 3,000.
Oh, here comes Nick.
Oh, Nick with the big stack. He's going to make it 10K. Music to the... Oh, and Rampage finds 9s. Sound the alarms. We might have a massive clash on our hands. And all-in announced for 27,800. Action back to Boots. Double check the cards. He's also going to move all in.
I have a
player.
Yeah, sure.
You're out?
I have ace-10. What the fuck am I doing?
Nick Salem out of the way, folding ace-10.
Ace-10.
Rampage will be happy to hear that because it's going to be 9s against ace-king. 66,000 in the middle.
I mean, he got me anyways. I couldn't play with move.
I had 10-8 suited though.
Big one here.
I would love.
First board
no matter what.
is for the Squid Game. Here comes the flop. Jack 4-8. You can see the outs on the screen there. 2 aces have already been folded.
First what?
Turn card. Jack of spades.
No heart.
Still looking safe. River's the 5 of diamonds, and Rampage gets the first one, and that means that Boots again, the loser of the Squid Game.
Hola, Chanchi. Buenas noches.
King, 9, 5, a set for Rampage. Boots looking for runner. It's not there, and Rampage winning 2 showdowns here with pocket 9s, and he's up to 66,000.
This night for Boots has been something.
It's unreal.
It's unbelievable. Currently only 3 winners at the table. Nick Salem, Rampage is slightly up, but up, and JRB. ways here. Jack 7-4. Top pair for JRB. Oaken's got a gutter.
JRB's going to raise it up to 8,000. Yep, of course. Ogun's going to come along and make the call. Building a real...
Now we're playing the game,
Man, if
boys.
a 9 comes, oh.
6 of spades on the turn. JRB has to continue firing.
Why did he check?
Yeah, why would you give Brian Oaken a free card who could be in there with just about anything? You got to charge him.
Oaken possibly thinking about betting here with the double gutter, but checks back.
Oh! It does
There
come in.
It is.
And JRB again with the check. Brian Oaken with a well-disguised straight on the river, 20,000 in the middle. I would not be surprised to see a very sizable bet here. Are we going to see the bobblehead?
Overbet maybe?
Yep.
There we go.
27,000 is the bet.
I'm going to get rid of this ugly shit anyways.
I'll take it.
JRB losing a huge one. 74,000 going to Brian Oaken.
Now they're expert. You
This
got
could
no
be trouble
chance.
right
If you
here. Look,
start to deliver
Nick
your hand,
flats
that
with
shit
the
is gone.
aces.
Oh.
They should.
Oh, baby.
And David Williams makes it 7,000 on the button. Nick Salem is just in full control here. This is a different Nick Salem than we saw 2 weeks ago.
I really wish I had my squid button.
7.
Oh, we went from margarita to wine. White wine. Maybe
He's getting ready for the dinner. You
maybe
know?
some red
Don't
after
get
dinner.
the squid and tip with the other 100. This
He
is
must have ordered
amazing.
seafood. Oh, he's going to come back over the top.
Truly incredible. Can't make that up.
21,400.
Not messing around. 21,400.
I'm all in.
Oh! David Williams with the misstep.
Oh, my gosh.
He runs into aces. Nick Salem.
First board gets it.
Oh, my God.
They're in for 100,000 each.
You're going twice.
What happens to
150,000 in the middle.
I like that.
This is the hand of the night.
2 times.
Better call up my backup player.
I'm not flipping over, so I don't care what they say.
They want you to roll your hand.
I'm not,
Yeah, they won't
I'm not
do it.
turning
Go
my
ahead.
hand over. So
Okay, just tell me.
Now he's
They're
protesting.
not rolling the hands
Put it
over.
out.
Go ahead, deal.
let's go.
Oh, man.
All right. Running it
Anyways,
twice.
You put it on the camera anyway,
First
right?
one
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
Squid Game. Aces versus ace 9. 7-6-3. Runner straight still out there. David Williams in a world of hurt right now.
Williams got in with the 8-4. He's like, I'm not sure.
I wish I had 8-4 right now. I have a shot. I could hit a 5.
Oh, yeah, ace queen.
First one's going to go to Nick Salem.
Ace. Yeah. Nice hand.
Second
Two
board.
boards, right?
Yeah. He split it back.
Second board hoping to save David Williams. We have an absolute monster pot on our hands during a round of Squid Game. David Williams thought Nick Salem was messing around, and he got caught
Nick, you can't have liked
with
see
his
the
hand in the
king run out.
proverbial cookie jar.
I didn't like it?
You can't have liked that. King run out.
Yeah, horrible.
Because I don't want to turn over ace king.
Yeah.
Jack 8-8
He
once
said he
again
saw that. I
looking
mean,
for back doors here, and that is it. David Williams
I mean,
tosses
from
him
his
into the
comments,
muck.
Yeah, okay.
Nick Salem wins the biggest pot of the night. Absolute monster pot.
You got my ass.
6.
Raise to 6,000.
6,000. Oaken on the button with Jack 10 of hearts.
Beautiful hand to squeeze here. You get some raise folds. You get some hands that you're in pretty good shape against to call, and then you also have the range advantage. Here we see the King Jack suited just make a cold call out of the blinds. So it's going to have the Jack 10 suited dominated, but Oaken will be in position. And Was, the 6-9-0, an infamous hand in poker. Just because of the value of the cards, Remco. Nothing else there.
I was trying to think, what am I missing here? Jack 6 deuce, King Charles with a beautiful flop here, top pair, and the spade draw. Wasserson, by the way, and Sebas still in search for a squid button, along with Oaken. And look at this. Oaken just moves all in for 30,000 with Jack 10, and King Charles doesn't hesitate.
I guess I can't call. Maybe about 10. Yeah.
Wasserson obviously gets out of the way.
Good.
Worst
That
case
is
scenario
not
for
good.
Oaken, and the 2 10s have already been
I
folded.
knew I had the middle part pre-flop.
84,000
yeah,
in the
JRP
middle.
folded the 10 of clubs, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I didn't even notice that. But wow.
King Charles in a terrific
So
spot.
drawn to a chop, it looks like he needs an
Oh, is that
ace
King Jack of
and
spades?
a
Yeah.
deuce or a
Oh.
6.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. Oh,
he's 2 pair on board. Or
I don't even know.
more. More. He's got 2 outs, Robert. 80-20.
You got 2 outs?
I mean, this game over for Oaken on this
2
hand.
outs. It could be.
2 10s only. As long as no spade.
Yeah,
As long as no
ouch.
10 of spade.
Just come ace.
Are you okay?
Oh no, even that is no good. What am I talking about?
He's at 80%.
And that's it.
And that's it.
I knew I was going to
Brian Oaken is going to lose this $84,000 pot, and King Charles
You have more than 30, right?
also winning 3 hands already during the squid game
Alright.
here. That's adding up quickly.
He's cooking.
He is cooking. 15K in the middle. Peter maybe regretting just calling now. Welcome back to Venetian Poker Live. The blinds have gone up. We're playing 200K, 400K. So I lied to you before the break about these big blinds. The stacks have gotten a little bit shallower, but there's still plenty of play left. Leonard on 13 million, Gregory on 8.5, and Ostapchenko on 8 million. My name is Remco Rinkema. Tristan Wade and Donnie Peters alongside me in the booth. Boys, we got the potential of a long battle here.
Yeah, I think we'll be here for a little while. I don't think any of these players want to give an inch to their opponents. All things considered, pretty deep at this stage of the tournament, so settle in.
Settle in indeed, and I think that's also the right approach if you are any of these 3 players. You know, you can't rush into it. You just got to play your game, stick to what you know, and hopefully cards will work in your favor. If you're with us in the chat, please let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you're having a good weekend. We are stoked to bring you this coverage. We have our next Venetian Final Table coming up on Tuesday as the poker summer just marches on here in Las Vegas.
It's not over.
It's
not over.
It's not over until you give up.
That's the truth. That's the truth. If you didn't win anything, you still have a chance. Get down to the Venetian right now. $1,100 buy-in, 300K guaranteed. Donnie and I were just glossing over the field out there right now on break.
Yeah, John Riordan's out there, Jeremy Becker, Nick Palma, Mike Wang I saw out there.
The 4th place finisher, Liu, has already taken
already
his
in?
seat.
Of course.
He's ready to blast away. As we see Andrew with a bluff, Jack 4 off after the flop went check, check. I don't know if he's going to have any ideas. He doesn't block clubs, but he is pretty bottom of range here to bluff the turn. And when he gets called, he's going to know Leonard has at least a king, maybe an 8 or 5 in range. So let's see if he does have ideas of bluffing here. He can still represent an ace. Yep, he's grabbing chips. And this might be one of the best hands Leonard gets to the river with a pair of kings.
$2.2 million, the bet here. Slight overbet. So again, this fun check on the flop and 450 on the turn, and now 2.2 million on the river.
Lone Star says folded pocket threes on the button. Seems tight, but I do kind of like that fold, and for this reason, you let these players battle. Pocket threes kind of hard to play when you don't connect with the flop.
It looks like Leonard is putting together a call. He makes the call. King 4 is going to be good. Ostapchenko is going to show the Jack 4, and with that bet, he now down to 5 million chips. Is this a hard call to make for Leonard, or is this one of those situations where, you know, as you sort of are presented with the situation, you sort of have to?
I don't think it's a tough call. It's a tough call. Andrew's representing a slow played ace there. He's representing some other stuff that got there on the river, maybe like a queen jack. And obviously these bluffs that he can block some stuff with. But that's not an easy call by Patrick Leonard, but he's, again, it's probably one of the better hands he has to get to the river with, a pair of kings. So you do have to call pot size bets still quite regularly, 30% of the time, 40% of the time, to keep your opponent honest when they are bluffing. So a very well played hand for him. And a fine played hand by Andrew as well. He kind of ran into one of the better hands Mr. Leonard's going to have there.
Mr. Leonard now with the suited king-queen. Probably going to ask how many chips Gregory has. Nope. We're just putting together a raise.
Both players for the suited king. Patrick Leonard's much, much better. Notice again the size, 1.4 million. It's a 3.5x.
And Gregory, let's go to the suited king.
Look, I think Gregory's like done an amazing job at this final table. You know, he doesn't have kind of the accolades or the resume as the two other players, but I think he's navigated the setup of this final table phenomenally in terms of where he sits in the chips, where the other players are, the dynamic between all the players. Like, we could have seen him get out of line at some point, but he really hasn't, and I think that's why he comfortably sits in second place here in trying to navigate to that $117,500 pay jump. Like, he's been just very timely with his aggression and his folds and not battling. I really think there's something to be said there.
And king 8.
That was a fine played hand, honestly. You know, obviously it always helps to make the nuts in this game, but we talked about that scenario when someone plays 3 bets out of position, and then a couple hands later he showed us how you can play those kind of holdings in position against a wide 3-betting range. So yeah. And I love to see the top 2 check the flop, and you could even check again with top 2 since you block a lot of the holdings that you want to start calling you with. And Andrew's range is going to be so wide in the big blind. And look, man, I'm telling you, he finds it. Like, he is really doing phenomenal.
Ostapchenko not willing to stab as the 10 of hearts completes the board.
And then, you know, when we think of theory, it's like, okay, now I have 2 pair. You know, even if Gregory bet here and Andrew jammed, like, you'd still have to call, even though it seems ugly. But obviously, Queen Deuce just going to let it go. No ideas of turning the 9-10 Jack Queen into a bluff there.
All right, so Gregory maintaining his stack here as Leonard holds a commanding lead over the other two players. 57% of the chips in play. King 4 off here for Gregory on the button. Expect to see him raise here.
You would?
I would. Any king. Let's go.
Yeah, like I said, I think he understands the scenario here. Andrew getting short, 10 bigs. Doesn't want to play against a chip leader who's got 40 plus bigs in the big blind, so I think that's a very good disciplined fold there.
See, I'm just too aggressive, too loose. That's why I'm here. Could never make it to the final table. Five deuce suited for Ostapchenko versus Leonard with 9-4 unraised pot.
700.
This is just playing range. Even though Leonard does have plenty of King X, Queen X, 10X to check, we could rule some of that out because Andrew with 10 big blinds, maybe Leonard just jams stuff like King 9 off, King 8 off, Queen Jack offsuit. But Leonard would probably check his, you know, suited King X at some clip, Queen X suited type stuff. All right, offsuit Broadway, 12 bigs on the button.
Ostapchenko moves all in, 8 deuce off for Leonard. It's gonna quickly hit the muck. Queen 3 off, not exciting either. Picking up $1 million every time that works. Playing 200K, 400K with a 400K big blind ante. Definitely in that phase of the tournament now where it's all business and every decision has quite a bit more weight to it than before. No missteps allowed.
UC in the chat says Sonic Boom card checks, and it is kind of funny because we do see you know, the players peeling kind of hard. I think the RFID cards are a little more stiff too. Yep. That's the other factor there.
Ten deuce 8 rainbow flop. Gregory flopping top pair. Ostapchenko does have some backdoors going here. 10 of clubs on the turn, giving him a flush draw along with his pair, but Gregory at the same time picks up trips.
Yeah, interesting. If you start betting now, you're targeting a 2, you're targeting a slow played 8, you're targeting a flush draw, and it just so happens that Andrew has the perfect hand to call a bet here, bottom pair and a flush draw.
We're going to see a river card. It's the King of Diamonds.
And surely Gregory's going to keep betting his trips. And if you're Andrew, you have to think of hands that your opponent would bluff with. Some of them are going to come from 9-7, maybe Jack 9, maybe Queen 9 type stuff, which you interact with here. So I don't know if we'll see a hero call. He does have a decent bluff catcher, but he kind of blocks a lot of the stuff he wants his opponent to have. Clubs, a 9. You know, you could even go far down in the ladder. 6-9 would be bluffing the turn. 7-9 I mentioned.
Oh, look at this. And Gregory pulls maximum value out of Ostapchenko, who called him down with that deuce. And look at this. Gregory up to 11.2 million. And as you said, Tristan, he has not made a misstep today.
Yeah, really hasn't. I mean, sure, he's battled and he's played some small ball and made some moves, but in every big confrontation, he's been on the right side of it. We got a 2-horse race, it seems like, here.
Yeah, and these two horses also clashed a little bit earlier. So maybe we're set up here for an entertaining heads-up battle, but let's not count Ostapchenko out yet, even though he has 6 bigs. Anything's still possible here. But he will be all in soon, I can tell you that much.
Again, this is where Gregory should probably just fold King 4 off. Again, we just saw him fold last time. I think it's even more important to fold now. Wow, Ace 5 hits the muck. And Ace Queen,
wow.
This is why you don't want to play this hand. You want them to battle. King 4 is just a little too wide here, and he's going to be punished for it. And Leonard might just play all in rips, although his hand is fairly strong. He could 3-bet non-all-in as well.
If Gregory folds, then Ostapchenko shoves and Leonard snap calls. So Ostapchenko saved from an all-in showdown here as Leonard reaches for chips. That's 2 million right there.
So it's a 2.5x open from Gregory. Let's see what sizing Leonard's going to go with.
Like 3.750. I didn't have to ask for the count.
Nailed it.
The well-trained eye can spot that sizing here as Gregory gets the message that he will not be seeing a flop with King 4. Obviously, that was also not his goal. He just wanted to pick up the blinds and antes here.
Yeah, but you know, it's just interesting, right? We just saw him fold it last orbit, but then he just wins a big pot off Andrew, and now he's like, I'm going to raise it. But the dynamic was still the same. He's second, the chip leader's in the big blind, and the dynamic even changed a little bit with Andrew even being shorter on chips, where like you have to call his all-in there. So yeah, I would have really liked to just see an open fold. He gets a little punish for it, and maybe that saves Andrew's tournament life. As we saw, he would have went broke with the Ace-5 versus Ace-Queen potentially there.
All right, 3-handed battle still ongoing. If you want to come and play some cash here, check out this Bad Beat Barrel promotion. Running all year long, have any aces full of kings hand beaten by a better hand in any qualifying promotional cash game, and you will select a Bad Beat Barrel cash prize envelope from our drawing drum. Cash prizes range from $250 to $5,000. That's pretty nice. Official rules available in the Venetian poker room. And when you try and find those official rules, as we see in All In, please know that that is right by the drink station, and there's a lot more promos going on, all of which have their own little rule sheet. So when you come and play, please make sure to check that out here. As Ostapchenko shoves the 10-8 offsuit, and Leonard makes the call from the small blind. Ostapchenko in a world of trouble here with the dominated 10 for his tournament life. This is for 5.3 million chips, and Ostapchenko's tournament life in a rough spot here. 71% for Leonard to win this one. Here comes the flop. Wow, King Jack 8, and Ostapchenko pairs his kicker. Leonard now looking for an ace or a queen.
Something high.
Leonard looking for big
king,
cards.
King Jack.
Ace on the turn, and now Ostapchenko looking for an 8 and an 8 only. How did that ace just come up there? As we got the backpack on, we're just going to see if that can bring out a miracle 8 on the river. Ostapchenko finds a 6, and that's not going to do it. Andrew Ostapchenko, who's coming off a super hot summer, continues to win, but unfortunately, he has to bow out here in third place, taking home $85,000 as Patrick Leonard rakes in the chips, and we are down to heads-up play. The final two guaranteed $117,000, but 164 up top is what these guys are playing for. Very significant heads-up match here after Ostapchenko departs. Patrick Leonard, $4.2 million in career tournament earnings. Derek Gregory, $1.2 million in career live earnings. Yeah, online poker cannot be tracked in a way that we can confidently throw a number out there, but it does say on his hand that Leonard has $19.2 million in online tournament earnings. As the first hand of heads-up play here, Gregory finds aces. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby is right. I mean, we do see 10 million and 20 million respectfully in play, but it's only really 25 big blinds versus 50 big blinds. And we see a limp on the button to start with the Rockets.
All right, the two gentlemen who had a bit of a thing earlier, I wonder if that's going to come back here as, of course, stacks easy to track during heads-up play. 29.5 million in total chips, so you can always calculate how many chips your opponent has. If you're just tuning in, earlier on the stream.
300? No, it doesn't do 4. Blinds are too 4.
Earlier on the stream, Gregory said, and I quote, "Are you blind?" when Leonard asked one too many times to see the chips of his opponent.
I'm laughing, but the producers. Because it was 300. Limit us 400.
All right, another promo here. Tons of promos inside the Venetian Poker Room, located at level 2 at the Palazzo Grand Canal Shops. Flop quads or a straight flush using the card of the month and win $500. Turn or river quads or a straight flush using the card of the month and win $250. There you have it. Plenty of promos going on inside the Venetian Poker Room. Get all read up on the various different promos when you come and play here. Cash games running 24/7. Tournaments running every single day. Venetian Poker Room. Some say the best poker room on the Strip, and it's always packed, so I think people here are onto something. Trophy on the table, by the way, that's what they are playing for, along with that $164,000 payout on top. And the chat is loving it. Gary says, Greg should trash talk, get in his head.
Look, this is right where you want to be. Your heads up, you've secured almost 18,000, and you're effectively playing a $50,000 heads up match. There's no trash talk needed. You let your actions speak for you, and both these guys want to win.
I also think it's hard to get under Leonard's skin. This guy's been around the block a few times here, as we see Jack 10-3, all diamonds roll off. Look at this flop. Gregory with a pair of jacks, Leonard with the open-ended straight draw and flush draw. Leonard, the equity favorite, despite not having a pair. Call made here by Leonard. This pot is swelling. Turn card is the Jack of Spades. Gregory now with trips has to continue firing.
He could. You don't have to. But he could.
Gregory taking his time on every decision. He's been very deliberate so far.
Check.
Decides to check. So why is he checking here? Because there's obviously a very draw-heavy board. You want to charge draws, from my perspective?
I mean, yeah, you could want to charge draws, but you can also delay value, under-rep your hand, and let your opponent improve, like we do see Leonard improve here to jacks and nines with a queen kicker. You know, the idea is also like when Gregory bets the flop, he knows his opponent's going to have something. So I kind of like this line here.
So 9 completes the board after the turn goes check, check, and now Gregory bets 2.3 million, which is 100K shy of a pot-sized bet.
Now, Leonard's going to mull this over.
How do we come to this bet size? What makes us think that this is the right price that could get called? Does it look more bluffy?
Yeah, I think these are basically polarizing bets, Remco, where when people go full pot, it's more like very strong or very weak. So I basically think Gregory could do this bet with a jack or a good 10.
So Leonard, oh, and he makes the call. Terrific value yet again for Derek Gregory, winning a huge one.
Yeah, I mean, seems like a huge one. It's 6 big blinds bet on the river, but that is a very momentous swing here because it almost evens the stacks.
Yeah, it's pretty huge to me.
Bet the turn.
And of course, you know,
Supposed to bet the turn. No. And trap your ass like I like to do.
Okay, okay. Gregory claiming that Leonard should have bet the turn.
And Leonard claiming Gregory should have bet the turn.
Gregory mentioning that his goal is to trap. Well, this time he got terrific value here. And of course, when I say massive pot, you know, it's in this very moment. 1 big blind, 2 big blinds is not a whole lot, but the blinds are worth so much more here. And Gregory indeed almost back to even here in this heads-up match.
Yeah, that last hand could have played out many different ways, but yeah, interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, apparently they should have both bet the turn. I don't think that's possible.
4 million?
Oh, hello. 7-3 off.
4 million?
4 million is, I mean, 7-3 off, is that a...
Look, this is just heads-up specialist Patrick Leonard putting in some work here. 10x ISO. This is his time he's doing it with a bluff. Another time he might have a hand.
So from a non-pro perspective, myself included, perhaps many people in the chat as well,
Sorry.
don't we run into a situation where the risk-reward ratio is just a little bit out of whack? If it fails horribly. If it works, it doesn't really win you that much?
Yes and no. You're risking 4 million to win 1 million. So yeah, in that kind of scenario, it doesn't sound all that great. But let's say the success rate of it is 95%,
right,
or something, since it's such a unorthodox big raise, then that's where the math starts to make sense.
Right. All right, so Leonard shuts it down with a 7-3 off.
And the idea is also, I think, to balance a bit and have some big pot energy, let's say, where we are just going to play for it all over one street. Like, I'm going to just make a 10x pre. If you go all in, great. If you call and we see a flop, well, there's 8 million in the middle. You got 10 million, or you got 8 million back, or what have you.
Leonard now, the one limping in, and Gregory with 9 deuce off, deciding to raise it up to 1.4. And Leonard limp calls with queen 6 suited. Ace 10 deuce. Range advantage here for Gregory.
Yep. But playing out of position is always difficult.
Actually goes check, check. 6 on the turn gives Leonard the better pair.
Yeah, I don't know if I love that check on the flop from Gregory because now it's very hard to navigate moving forward. There's always going to be overcards. I think his most played hands like this would be some slow played ace X and some strong 10X. But notice this line is not even shedding a 6 from Leonard now.
He made a rather quick call. Sometimes we see him be very deliberate and take lots of time. Now the call was quick. I wonder if there's a bit of a psychology involved there. And now the ace pair's on the river.
Backdoor spades have also arrived. Combos of ace X for Gregory now reduced.
Two pair.
Two pair announced, and Leonard with the one at a time card turnover that was a bit slow, but obviously he would have mucked those right away if that was not the winner. Leonard takes it down, and we are back to square one. 2-1 chip lead for the man from England.
Two fives here, big hand with only 25 bigs. There's really nothing you can do wrong as long as you want to get money in there. So you could limp and trap, limp and then jam over a raise, or you could, of course, raise yourself. I think the former plays a little bit easier.
1.4.
We're going to see a flop here, boys. And there could even be an all-in from Patrick Leonard here. Maybe not against a 3.5x. But 7-8 suited sometimes does some things with 25 bigs in play. He might not want to push his 2-1 advantage that hard. But I'll tell you, he's not folding.
Hold on.
And he moves all in. And the snap call from Gregory. We're flipping for it all here. Derek Gregory with pocket fives puts his tournament life on the line versus 7-8 of hearts. We got a pure coin flip happening here.
Sunglasses come off for the first time today.
Both players with the naked eye going to observe this showdown here. This is for it all. And it comes ace 10-10 with two hearts. Look at this. The screen almost cannot fit the outs that Leonard has.
Five ends it, though.
A 5 ends it if we have hearts, ace 7-8. Lots of outs for Leonard. Two more cards to come. Can he end the tournament right here? It's the 4 of clubs. The safe card comes for Gregory. If the 5s hold up, we got a roll reversal, and Gregory will have a 2-1 chip lead.
Still a 60-40.
So many outs for Leonard. River card. It's the queen of spades.
There we go.
It doesn't come in for Leonard. Pocket fives hold. 2-1 chip lead now for Gregory. Playing for just shy of $50,000 in this heads-up match.
9.8. 9.7.
All right, 2-1 lead for Gregory, who's been playing basically flawless here at this final table.
Chat, I see some of your comments, and you guys are clueless, okay? Stop giving us crap over here. We know what we're talking about. A 5 would have been a full house. A flush would have not been able to win there if a 5 would have came on the turn. But you keep listening to us, maybe one day you'll learn poker like we know it.
Questionable. Highly questionable. All right, chat, does that change your opinion of the outcome now that Gregory is the one with the 2-1 chip lead here? Let us know in the chat. Do you think Pads can come back? Do you think this is Gregory's ticket to the finish line?
All good ARC streams, just got to mess with you a little bit. Look, the tables have been flipped. Patrick Leonard now down 2-1, but 25 big blinds in play.
Raise. 800.
Raise there from Leonard on the button. He takes it.
Maybe Mr. Leonard considering his play. The 7-8 suited. Had he been able to see the flop, maybe that's one he gets to win somehow. But nonetheless, heads up is very volatile. We will see these chips fly around. Love you guys in the chat, though. Love you guys in the chat. The good, the bad, the ugly. Just don't be too mean, because I used to not even look at the chat prior to a couple weeks ago. I would just commentate and not have to deal with it.
Ace 10-7 here with a couple of clubs. Leonard is open-ended. Gregory's got a pair of 7s.
Open-ended with a club. These ideas here are that you can do anything, really. Some of the bluffs for Leonard here would come from Jack 8, Jack 9, maybe 8-9 with a club. But obviously all those hands can choose to call as we see them go to a turn.
Leonard check calls on the flop. The bet was 500K. Ace of hearts here pairs the board on the turn. Check, check. 4 of hearts comes in on the end.
Look at Leonard, no bluff. The 9 high, knowing he can't win, he just gives up. That doesn't mean he gives up yet, because maybe he has ideas to check raise, Donnie, on the river.
1.5.
Looks down. He does look down at the 9 of hearts.
Bet here from Gregory is 1.5 million. 1.5 into 2.2.
Might be bluffing with the best hands.
No bluff here from Gregory. Just probably the bottom of his value betting range. Run Bad says he can't raise now. I think that's, I think in Kappa 2, I think you guys are probably right. Once someone starts talking, they really kind of cap themselves to either calling or folding.
Well, if he calls here, I'll be flabbergasted.
Yeah, maybe he's just expecting his opponent to not really bet a 7 on the river all that much. So it's just a 10 or nothing. I'm assuming that's what he's arranging in his thought process. But even 9 high doesn't beat.
I mean,
a whole lot.
I don't like having the 8 of clubs in my hand. I don't. I think he could be like. What if he's just got Jack 9 somehow? I know you blocked that, yes, but I mean, what if he's betting with that hand? You know, what if he's got, I don't know, Queen 3, like, you know, these kind of random bluff hands that he thinks he's got to push Leonard off like a 7 or something.
I mean, Leonard's beating 5 high, he's beating 6 high, he's beating 8 high. He's obviously beating 3 high.
I think he just named King 7 and Queen 7.
Yeah, that's something only Patrick Leonard.
You have it?
Did you have it?
Me? Depends what it is, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But you either had it or not.
You'll be able to see on TV. That's the beautiful thing, right?
Yeah. Or I could just none out.
Or you could not.
Think these guys are going to get a drink later?
No shot.
They're going to go on a coffee tour together, obviously.
I do like that Gregory he's very like well equipped to deal with like the conversation that can come up in live poker.
Oh.
Like you can tell he's certainly very comfortable with it, and maybe even like he feels like he's the stronger player in that specific regard.
Absolutely.
I think I like bringing that here.
I just got a phone call from MTV. This is going to be the new Robin Big.
Queen high?
Way worse.
Jack high?
You were bluffing Jack high? You had Jack high?
You had Jack high?
No, way worse.
Oh, way worse.
Nothing. Nothing.
Now, what I was going to say is that
But
we all remember playing live cash for for the first time, or when you're inexperienced, and there is the type of personality at the table that it has an edge over you just because of how comfortable they are, the way they talk, the way they react, and you know Gregory has that sort of edge to him that definitely helps in live games. It is funny though versus someone like Pads, who's obviously played high stakes for a very long time. And how much that could truly affect things. And aces again here for the second time.
Yeah, this raise sizing is just interesting to me. It's so large, like you're just not going to get much value, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe the ideas
250?
Yeah.
or what had happened before when he did that with 5s and he got jammed on, he was hoping that something like that would happen there. But I agree. When you have aces heads up, you really want to milk it a little more. So I would love to see a limp or a smaller raise size. If you just 2x it there, you probably invite
I have 82.
the 9-6 offsuit type stuff in potentially. We'll probably see Leonard play a lot of limping since he's sub 20 bigs, as we see the blinds go up to 500K big blind now.
Gregory checks back, so to the flop we go. Four, 5, 9, 2 diamonds. Gregory pairs his 4, and so does Leonard.
Check. Check.
954. It's our first one.
2 pair here for Leonard on the turn.
Shout out Fort Lauderdale, South Florida. West Palm Beach, Boynton Beach, stand up.
America, the only country where area codes have have meaning and importance.
Thanks to Ludacris. I've got hoes. I've got hoes in different area codes. Area codes.
You guys are unbelievable.
Hoes.
That is a classic song, though.
The 313, the 404. Like, nobody did it better than that guy right there.
He was just in Vegas. I think he was at the M the other day.
Oh, yeah. I saw the billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
They actually get some decent concerts there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
All right, so this one goes to Leonard with a bet and a fold.
Great fold there from bottom pair. Again, we've seen Gregory really navigate the scenario. Maybe not always play the hand, whatever, perfectly, but the scenario he finds himself in, I really feel like he's done a phenomenal job today, this final table.
Ace-9 off for Gregory again. A decent holding.
These are big hands, heads up, when your opponent has sub 20. You really can't go wrong with how you play it. Unless you fold at some juncture before the flop.
Which hands are strong enough to call jams with here as we open the button? Ace-9, I'm sure, is in that range. What else do we have there?
You're basically any pair. Your suited aces would rather raise call stuff. Your best suited broadways like king, queen suited, king, jack suited. Anything that's going to dominate some of the stuff your opponent shoves and never be dominated is mostly that category there.
Fun Patrick Leonard fact, his first ever live cash was a $500 Venetian DeepStack back in 2011. So he's got a bit of history here. I remember playing those back in the day.
Johnny Sandtrap says, I caddied in Boynton Beach. Nice. We got like 2 or 3 golf courses there, so maybe a little bit more.
Nice looking pair of 8s here.
See a raise?
Oh, and a very handsome Jack-10 suited for Gregory.
This is another setup. The money could have went in pre here, but he opts to just see a flop.
He loves to make the call with the small chips. Not sure why, but he slides forward the stack of chocolates there to go see King, Queen, Jack. Disaster flop for Leonard here with his pair of 8s. Actually goes check, check. King of hearts on the turn. And instead of a massive pre-flop clash, we see the hand get checked down to the river.
Yeah, now Gregory should go for value. You're pretty comfortable and confident in a jack or better at this point. And Leonard will have like a standard bluff catcher if he so chooses. But yeah, the tournament could have been over in this hand if Gregory took a more aggressive approach pre-flop.
1.6.
And now Leonard thinking that he might have to hero call this?
Yeah, it's worth consideration. I mean, you've checked twice. You're now on the river. You do have 2 pair. If your opponent had a nothing hand, a 10 high, you might expect that to start bluffing the turn. But if they have any other stuff that just can't win, maybe they're just going to bet. So you have a bluff catcher.
Well, he considered earlier with 9 high, right? Making the call.
He did.
So now we're here with pair of 8s. Oh, does decide to let it go. And, you know, the rich get richer. Gregory, even though, you know, he could have ended it, like you said, could have jammed the Jack-10 suited, chips up some more and Leonard down to just 7 million chips. All right, here's a look at the upcoming live streams. The UltimateStack that we got on Tuesday still has a whole nother starting flight happening tomorrow on Sunday, July 20th. Play day 2 on Monday. The final table live here on PokerGo and Venetian Poker Live on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time. Cash games return as well on the 23rd. There's one. And then on the 30th, again, a 100-200 no-limit cash game hosted by Brian Oken. Check out okensgame.com if you want to put your name on the list to partake in some high-stakes action as we go back to the action here with Gregory sitting on a commanding chip lead versus Patrick Leonard. Gregory limps in. Leonard now with King 10 off for the big blind.
Yum, yum.
All of it.
You don't really see these type of hands like King 10 offsuit try to trap in this scenario as such a short stack.
No need to count, dealer. No need to count, dealer. No need to count, dealer. I'll ask. Thank you.
Gregory lets it go.
Thank you.
Gregory's got a dirty stack there in the front.
Oh, he does.
No need to count, Donnie, okay?
You'll ask,
Thank
right?
you.
I feel like the three of us are just thinking of ways in which this heads-up match could explode in a variety of ways. Some quips, some jabs. People sometimes accuse me of rooting for someone, but you have to know that I always just root for maximum drama. Whoever's ahead, I wanna see a sweat or some big draw or whatever. And if there's some jousting going on, please bring it. The people want to be entertained.
Shout out to Abe in the chat. Says, shout out to Tommy LaRosa for making the Venetian such a great place to play.
Preach.
I think we can all agree on that one.
Absolutely.
You know, that's why the Venetian is such an awesome place, and that's why people are saying it is the best place to play poker in Las Vegas, because of Tommy LaRosa and the team and how much they actually care to make poker great. Stuff like that can't be understated.
As I mentioned before, 24/7 cash games, tournaments every single day here at Venetian, the Venetian Poker Room. 10-10-3 on the flop here.
See King High come with a bet of one big blind, and Queen High probably going to be a little sticky here.
Queen high does come along. Oh, and now no longer queen high. A pair of queens here.
And Leonard wasn't calling just to hit the queen. His queen high could have been good, although we see it's not, or it wasn't currently at that junction. But again, when you're playing blind versus blind, wide ranges, you expect your opponent to just bet maybe the flop with anything. So you do have to keep them kind of honest with your queen highs and king highs and things of that assortment.
Actually goes check, check. 9 of clubs on the river. Leonard putting together a bet of 2.5 million, pot size bet.
Assumes his opponent doesn't have a 10 to check back the turn. Maybe doesn't have flush draws. That would have maybe bet the turn. So ranging Gregory appropriately here to king high.
And Gregory lets go of king high. And Leonard picks one up. Still, of course, big underdog here. 8 million versus 21 million. Let us know in the chat. Who do you think is going to win? Gregory has played very well at this final table. Has also made some hands at the right time. Most notably that King 8, where he made a full house against Ostapchenko.
Notice Leonard just trying to do accounting before every hand. Wants to know exactly his stack. These things heavily dictate how you're going to play, especially heads up.
How much studying of heads up poker would you suggest someone does throughout the year when you focus on tournaments? Because obviously you don't get the heads up hardly ever. It's so rare to be in the situation. But then again, when you do, there's all of a sudden 40 buy-ins on the line.
Yeah, it's super, super important. I would say maybe 10% of your study, at least, should come from playing a short stack heads up. 30 big blinds or less. That's typically what you'll be around when you do play heads up. But yeah, becoming more versed in heads up will make you just a well-rounded poker player in general, I feel like.
Now for yourself, sort of week to week, how many hours of studying do you do versus how many hours of playing do you do?
It varies, but I would say I'm probably between 10 to 20 hours of studying and 20 to 40 hours of playing.
I mean, that's a big job.
Yeah.
You're talking 60 hours a week on the regular.
Yeah. Same strategy here from King 10 offsuit. Both times we did here an all-in.
Same hands.
Same hands, exactly.
Last time he had 8-5 of hearts.
Oh yeah, both ways, exactly. Like playing poker is great. You know, you get a lot of experience from playing poker, but there really is something to be said about studying the structure of the game, the math and theory behind the game. That's just going to make you a much better poker player in the long run.
Ace queen suited for Gregory.
Hey, that's mine. That's my 500. What are you doing? Why would you give it back to him?
It was an accident. I wouldn't have taken it.
Gregory way out of line here.
A little on edge, huh?
No, that's super out of line. Like, you think the dealer's trying to screw you out of a blind? You think Better Leonard's going to accept that? Come on, bro. Chill out. There's, like, no need for that. Everyone's trying to do their job. Staff has been flawless here. I know it's a big spot, but these people are just doing their job. Really, really irks me when players say stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously could have said it, but the tone was.
Yeah, it's all about the tone.
Yeah,
you can just point
hey,
out.
no, dealer, it's a, you know.
Yeah, it's mine. It's mine.
Check.
All right, 85 hands into this final table where we saw a few quick casualties leading to an interesting four-handed battle. Qing Liu ultimately busting in fourth for 63,000. Then it was Andrew Ostapchenko getting third for 85,000, and now here we are. Heads up for just shy of 50K. Patrick Leonard versus Derek Gregory. It's been a good match so far. Gregory's still in the lead here, 2-1.
And Leonard with a hand that really has to start bluffing. Comes with about pot, which is currently about 3 big blinds. And we do see the bottom pair with a gut shot hit the muck. Birdman says, you don't have money down there, so chill, commentator.
I am a commentator. That's what I'm here for, to commentate.
Happened to me on day 6 of the main. I won it all in. The dealer pushed the pot the other way. I said, Wincy, come on. Don't do me like that.
Well, you didn't go Thang Liu.
No. I mean, mistakes happen. It's
of course
not a big deal.
Chat overwhelmingly on the side of the dealer.
Yeah, definitely.
99%, I'd say.
You know, look, tensions get high. Voices crack.
Yeah,
that's right.
A little moment there for Tristan Wade.
Here we go. We got a big confrontation brewing on this board. Top pair versus middle pair. And a gut shot with a backdoor flush draw. But yeah, this is the most pressure either player is probably going to face throughout the tournament right now. Let's see what Leonard's going to do here.
We might lose Tristan Wade before the tournament's over. He's hacking up a lung here as we see a race to 2.3 million. Leonard with top pair. Gregory pairing his 7 along with the gut shot. Might we see a jam here? Is that out of line?
It's possible. It's not completely out of line. Look at the equities. You know, it is 34.66.
I think he's going to go for it.
You guarantee seeing all the cards if the money gets in now.
Both players with the shades on in a bit of a staring contest, so it seems. We might see an all-in showdown here, but instead,
wow,
we see the fold.
I don't think you can fold there. That might be one of the few missteps I've seen from Mr. Gregory.
What
Folding there is just out of the question, if you ask me.
A lot of equity. A lot of equity going towards.
To his credit, rightfully so, but if your opponent's ever bluffing with hands like 9-10, Jack-9, 5x, 6x there, folding is a catastrophe.
Yeah, I think that's one of those spots where if I'm going to bet fold, I probably just check, right? Like I just...
Well, I know we're not playing PLO, but the one thing that people always tell me in PLO is that you do not want to get bet off your equity. And this is maybe one of those cases in Hold'em where if you're not willing to go with it, perhaps play more conservative.
Yeah.
Or would that then in turn also make you lose value? I'm not sure.
And it's also not that he necessarily had to go with his hand the whole way. Like he could have called, saw a turn, maybe it's
oh wow,
you know, the king of hearts, and he folds his hand then. But let's say you turn a club, or you know, obviously you turn a straight, like all those sorts of equity increasing hands. I think you can just call and see it there.
I mean, Gregory here, one off of his favorite hands, limps in with King 7 off, and Leonard is just going to put almost all of his chips in the middle with King 5. No easy hands to be won here.
Just like that, Leonard chipping away.
Leonard has been very much willing to play big pots.
So we got Patrick Leonard versus Derek Gregory, the final two players of 737 runners, I believe, that entered the $1,600 tournament. These are our two remaining contestants.
Limp in a check. He goes check, check, 7 pairs on the turn. Gregory still maintaining his chip lead after a good start to this heads-up match.
That's 700K.
And this one will go to Gregory. Again, the ultimate stack, the next ultimate stack is already underway. The final starting flight is tomorrow on Sunday. That event will have its day 2 on Monday, and then a final table on Tuesday. Make sure you come and head down to the Venetian Poker Room to check that out. $1,100 buy-in, $300K guaranteed prize pool.
So another big hand for Leonard. I don't know if we'll see an all-in with this hand class, as this is a bit stronger.
To Gregory, it must feel like Leonard has been a lot more aggressive lately, but as we can see, he's sort of had hands every time. He had top pair with the 8, now he's got King Jack, so sure, he's being more aggressive, but it's also because of the situations. He's not just, you know, out there blasting with 7-3 offsuit like we saw him do at the beginning of the match.
Yeah, the ebbs and flows of heads-up poker is very volatile. It's the most short-term variance you can expect in any heads-up. I mean, any poker format is heads-up. So, yeah, and notice Leonard being favored by the deck currently as he picks up one of the best hands in No Limit Hold'em.
Ace-king offsuit for Patrick Leonard. And he's not going to go for the limp raise. He's just going to put it in himself. 1 million is the raise as we're playing.
Gregory with a
250K,
big
500
hand too,
Oh,
Remco.
wow. Now this is what you call a cooler. Both players, or excuse me, Gregory thinking that, oh wow, he just flats.
Yeah, look, that's fine. Again, we're playing 24 big blinds deep, so you don't have to just get the money in. But yeah, these are two very big hands heads up. King, queen suited and ace, king offsuit, obviously.
So what makes Gregory check this? We've seen a lot of limp raising. We've seen a lot of sort of raising from the big blind from both players. Why take this approach now with this hand?
You know, maybe he's kind of trapping in a sense. Like maybe he's trying to small ball it a bit. The gap has shortened between him and Patrick Leonard. So maybe he's not trying to play just these all-in confrontations. He wants to see flops, turns, and rivers. So I really think that's the idea here. Now, there is some merit to just calling preflop with king, queen suited because Patrick Leonard's raising range is going to be so wide. But he might lose a couple streets of value here if Patrick Leonard keeps value betting his ace-king. Because king-queen of diamonds is a pretty formidable bluff catcher to call twice when there's only 8 big blinds in the middle and ranges are very wide.
Action does go check, check. River is the 10 of hearts.
And if Gregory checks, I think it's a green light for an ace-king high, the nut ace high, to go for value. Since someone's going to call the flop with so many high card hands themselves, like king highs, queen highs, worse ace highs.
And you would have heard from Gregory by now if he had ace-4, ace-9, or anything that connects with this board.
Those are probably the two holdings that beat you that get to the river.
Right.
Maybe ace-9 does some raising on the turn. Maybe ace-4 does some raising on the flop. Neither have to. But Leonard also blocks that kind of stuff. And it does just go check, check. So Patrick Leonard does not value bet.
And Gregory saves himself a bunch of chips here.
Maybe the tournament.
Maybe the tournament. And look at the stacks now. Oh, wow. So the stacks are basically even and the blinds go up. So the gravity of the moment has just gotten quite a bit bigger as Leonard has been on a bit of a run as of late. That's what the swings of Heads Up Poker are like. If you're enjoying the coverage on Venetian Poker Live or on Poker Go, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the Poker Go YouTube chat to the Venetian Poker Live channel. Do me a favor, click on that link, just subscribe to the Venetian Poker Live channel. You'll get some cool content in your feed. We'll post highlights and big hands from the Venetian cash game streams and tournaments. That way we can reach you when something crazy happens. So please subscribe to the Venetian Poker Live channel. We are rapidly approaching 10,000 subscribers. Appreciate you all for hanging out with us. And with 3 deuce off, Gregory's trying to steal one here. Oh, and jacks for Leonard.
Wow.
Leonard has been on a card rush too. Like it's been working out for him.
Look, deuce 3, one of the bottom barrel holdings that you might just want to elect to just fold heads up, right? Like you need some folds in your range, but you know, you can just play your position advantage as well and raise 100% of hands on the button, which is kind of what we see here, but very poor timing.
And Leonard puts together a 3-bet 185. Excuse me, 385. Oh, even more. Oh, there was the big blind already in there as well. So we're going 4.25 million. And like I said, I just mentioned it, but to Gregory, this must feel like Leonard is just trying to force the action. He's being so aggressive. When you don't see the hands, you think you might be getting bluffed a lot.
Yeah, but, you know, you just got to keep your wits about you. It's a card game, you know? It's not personal. Nobody's doing anything to you. They're just playing their hands, and that's kind of what's happening right now.
Well, the trophy's still on the line between these two. What'd you call it again?
It's the Lion of Venice.
Lion of Venice, that's what it is.
We're in the Venetian.
Leonard, by the way, back in the triplet for the first time in, I want to say, a level and a half.
Yeah, and the blinds have risen. Stacks decreased. Average stack now around 22 big blinds or so, 24 big blinds.
Now we're going to go see a flop here. 10, 4 deuce, 2 clubs. 10 deuce for Leonard, giving him 2 pair. Gregory has 2 backdoor possibilities here. And Leonard not wasting any time. Quick with the bet. Tosses out 600K.
And Queen 5, kind of worthy of a 1 big blind call. You have an overcard. You have the Queen of Clubs. You have 2, 4, 5.
5 of clubs would be a very interesting card. Turn card is the 3 of spades. And now Gregory open-ended.
And Mr. Patrick Leonard is going to start building his range in a polar kind of fashion, I imagine, at this junction. A vulnerable hand, albeit two pair, but still a vulnerable hand, top and bottom pair.
And 2 hands used to overbet 4.3 million into 3 million.
Immediate discomfort from Derek Gregory. To Remco's point, am I just being ran over here? Or does my opponent just keep continuously getting the best of the deck?
Overbet on the turn. Haven't seen that much. We've seen some river overbets, but on the turn, it's not as common. Wow. And he calls the overbet with the naked open-ended draw, queen high. Gregory, wow, I'm so shocked. Gregory has 7.5 million left behind here, and it's the jack of spades on the river. There's 11.6 million in this pot. What just happened, Tristan?
19 big blinds in the middle. Queen high versus 2 pair still. Gregory, no spade in hand, going to check it over to Leonard. And Leonard is still just going to keep value betting. And it's going to be an all-in, obviously. I don't know if there's any exploits here to check because you think your opponent could have some 10x of spades or 4x of spades type holding. You know, that would be one hell of an exploit. I think the default here is just a pile.
And Leonard finds the shove, putting Gregory at risk. As we can see, he's just left with queen high. There's nowhere to go. But that turn call.
Yeah, look, we saw him fold the 7-5 of clubs on the 8-7 4 board under 10 hands ago. We saw him call with the Jack-10 of clubs against the open of a sub-20 big blind stack previously. You got to wonder if he's going to question some of those decisions as this heads-up match plays out.
All right, still heads up. Patrick Leonard, all of a sudden a commanding lead. These two are guaranteed 117,000 with 164 up top. Dealer change and play continues. This is the Ultimate Stack. $1,600 buy-in. That was a $750K guarantee. They smashed that. There's more than $1 million in the total prize pool as we are on hand 92 of this final table.
One double up, it's even again.
Yes, correct. And the blinds are 300K, 600K, so it's not hard for these to end up in the middle. And here's 7 deuce offsuit. Worst hand in poker. Slightly better in heads-up play, but still.
To me, that last hand was Gregory maybe feeling a little pressure on himself. Like, Pads has been winning pretty much every single hand, and finally he said, you know, I have to try and make something happen. Now, we can obviously see it was a bit ambitious at the time, but you know, that's where I think it came from ultimately. Is like, I'm not really making any hands. I feel like this guy's just running me over, so if I drill my straight here, I'm going to double up to this guy.
Right. And the contrast is so big with the 7-5 hand where you would have applauded that shove if he had done it. Instead, he folds that, and then he makes the call here. Poker is such a situational game where one decision can totally flip the script here, as Leonard now, after jacks, finds queens, and it's king 7 off here for Gregory. Leonard again with the limp.
Could be all over here.
Gregory might just put this in.
And he moves all in. Snap call from Leonard. We got an all-in showdown. Queens versus king 7.
Mamacitas, sir.
Lady Gaga.
No, Mamacitas if you're Patrick Leonard. Tristan knows.
Yep. Mamacita, mamacita.
Gregory's one off of his favorite hand. King 8 is what he did it with earlier. Now with king 7, hoping to survive. We got 13.8 million in the middle. Patrick Leonard awaiting the showdown. Can he close it out and take this one down?
And this showdown's actually fitting.
Here comes the flop. 10-8-3, 2 clubs. No backdoor clubs for Gregory, as Leonard has those covered. He's looking for a king and a king only. Turn is the 4 of spades. Patrick Leonard, 3 outs away. And the river is the deuce of spades. It doesn't come in for Derek Gregory, as Patrick Leonard closes it out and wins the Ultimate Stack for $164,000.
Just like that.
Just like that. Terrific display. Exciting battle. Derek Gregory definitely put up a big fight, but ultimately, as you can see it here, Gregory will take home 117K. Leonard collecting 164. Patrick Leonard winning the 8th live tournament of his poker career and adding a nice chunk of change to his poker resume.
We just got him standing awkwardly there. We can't say... Go down and interview him real quick, Remco. Come on.
I cannot travel back in time as much as I would like to, but there it is. The trophy going home to the Leonard house. I'm sure that Mom, who has been watching all night, will happily receive that. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you at the next one on Tuesday for the next Ultimate Stack final table. See you soon.